It's in that cup over there.
Yeah, it's one of the special drinks, I think.
I promise it's just.
And he didn't bring any to share.
Right.
All right. Good evening, and I will call this meeting to order. Welcome to the Tuesday, February 17th, 2026 edition of the Clawson City Council. Those who are interested, we're going to rise and say the Pledge of Allegiance. All right. Next, we are going to have words of inspiration by Pastor Kristen McCarthy from Spirit of Christ Lutheran Church. Welcome.
Thank you. Good evening. It's great to be here with you all, and thank you for having me. This past weekend, many of us may have celebrated Valentine's Day. Anyone? Okay. It's a day of love. Valentine's Day originated as a Christian feast day honoring a martyr named Valentine. There's a martyrdom story about St. Valentine of Rome going to prison for ministering to Christians who were persecuted under the Roman Empire in the 3rd century. This man went to prison for showing love to others, for loving and caring for those who are persecuted. He gave up his life and freedom in order to show love. I think it's really beautiful that we all come from different backgrounds. We are from different religions, different genders, races, and sexualities, different abilities and ethnicities, different beliefs and values, different political parties. But there is one thing that connects all of us, and I believe that is love. Whether you may believe that it's love from God, from the people in your life, from the beautiful creation of the universe we live in, love is uniting. And it's love that calls us to act on behalf of the most vulnerable. Love that calls us to think about others in our community. Love that is greater than all. And so I hope that you receive these words in a way that is most helpful to you. Maybe that's a prayer or a blessing or as inspiring words to guide you. This evening, as you go through your agenda, may you be led and lead with love. May you make decisions that benefit the most vulnerable populations. And may the city of Clawson support and uphold your loving kindness and leadership. Thank you.
Thank you. All right. Roll call, please.
Mayor Moffett,
Present.
Mayor Pro Tem O'Rourke,
Here.
Councilmember Peltman, Councilmember Rinkovich,
Here.
Councilmember Slawinski,
Present.
Councilmember Spishak,
Here.
Councilmember Tinlin.
Here.
All right, we are all present and accounted for. Next is public comment for items on the agenda. So,
Approval of the agenda.
well, you're right. I crossed it off and everything like it was done. Next is approval of the agenda.
Madam Mayor, I'd like to make a adjustment to the agenda and have the removal of 7B, the proclamation. And if I get a second, just for the council members that are new, that just will spark a discussion.
Support.
So I guess I'll lead with that ordinance as far as just immigration enforcement. I did read the document. I just want to go on public record. That document doesn't have legal binding. We can instruct the police officers at Clawson to change anything they're doing. They also have an operation agreement with Troy. And also the fact that state's council when we didn't vote on it. And in my world, I think, the partisan politics of national level, I try to keep out of, and we should be focusing on Clawson because we have a lot of stuff to do here first than have a proclamation like that. So that's my comments.
So
To have it removed.
I think the intention of putting that on the agenda was so that we could have a discussion at that time about whether or not the council was going to agree to put that proclamation in place. So that's why that agenda item is there, and it is more appropriate to have that discussion as an agenda item than it is during the approval of the agenda.
If that's the case, then I can withdraw my motion, and then just go ahead. Oh, go ahead, sorry.
You don't have to, Mr. Tinlin. It goes automatically. It does not require a vote technically, versus in Robert's rules. It will go automatically as an item on the agenda.
Okay, so it just becomes an item on the agenda.
That you
So,
would then discuss and
Right.
vote and all that.
so we still need a motion for approval of the agenda.
Madam Mayor, I move that we approve the agenda as presented,
As amended.
amended.
Support.
Is there a discussion about the agenda? So I'd like to have a discussion about the agenda. Specifically, in regard to item, let me find it. Item 9H. Is that the one I wanted? Because this is, we had the council had requested that the rules and procedure document be on this agenda, and it is not on this agenda. And it was the council's wish that we figure out what we're going to do with the rules and procedures document before we write any ordinances. So I would either request that we remove item H, or better yet, perhaps that we modify item H to make it the discussion about the rules and procedure document like we talked about. And I can see that, you know, one of the key things of the rules and procedures document that we're all trying to hash out is what we want to do with the words of inspiration, which the proposed ordinance tries to address. But I think that the council had wanted to come to a conclusion about that item during our rules and procedures. So I'm going to make the motion that 9H be modified to be a discussion of the rules and procedures document. I know it's not here, but I think we all know the topics and can have the discussion at that
I already
time.
have a motion on it.
Yeah, if I may, Madam Mayor, you already have a motion on the floor. You can certainly do that at the time when you get to 9H. I think there's some, we were trying to address precisely what council wanted with respect to this item, and it's a chicken and an egg kind of thing. We ultimately came to the conclusion, and the city manager can recount better that analysis, because we went back trying to offer exactly what council wanted, but we think that ultimately modifying the actual order of the agenda in whatever fashion council deems appropriate is a necessary first step before amending the rules and procedure.
But the rules and the procedure is the tool that we were using to decide how we wanted to modify that ordinance.
Right.
That was our discussion tool, and that's what we all had been using. That's what we were told would be on the agenda. I think that's what we were all expecting to discuss.
Yeah, I think ultimately, and I'll defer to the city manager, but ultimately, I guess from a legal perspective, you have to modify your ordinance first before you actually give.
Before we modify the ordinance, we need to know how we want to modify it, and the way we are deciding how we want to modify it is through the discussion of the rules and procedure document.
I leave you to your analysis, I suppose. I respectfully disagree, but perhaps you might want to hear from the city manager as well on this.
I understand you disagree because how the agenda was constructed against what the council had asked for.
Oh, no, but that's not our, I don't mean to.
How it appears.
Right, but that's certainly not the intent, far from it. I think our desired intent is to give meaning to council's desire to modify the order. And we ultimately, when we spoke with respect to this issue, we looked at precisely what the council's agenda has looked like since times immemorial and trying to give meaning to it. Otherwise, there would be so many items as it currently stands from 263 that would be modified as a matter of course that I don't believe council wanted. But council obviously controls both the conversation and then what that ordinance ought to look like.
Agreed, and that's why Mayor Pro Tem O'Rourke asked if that document would be presented back today. The minutes say the document is going to be on the agenda today, our rules and procedure document. It's what the minutes from the last meeting say, that it's going to be here today, and yet it's not. and there's something completely different from the course that we were going down. And so that's my consternation. Mayor Pro Tem O'Rourke?
I'm trying to, I guess I am trying to understand, because I did ask, and you said it would be at this meeting. You're saying this is a step that needs to happen before we
Yeah.
start with adding stuff to our procedure?
Yes, so that.
Explain.
Yeah. In order to, we have an agenda that has looked the same for a long time, right? It looks the way that you see it before you today, which it has words of inspiration, approval of the agenda, public comment for items on the agenda. At the end of it, public comments for items not on the agenda. That's not what your 260, 365, whatever it is, that's not what that reads like currently. And we don't modify backwardly, and this is the city manager that actually pointed that out to me personally, because we have the documents of rules of procedure. We took a stab at it already. I've already incorporated all your other comments and concerns from the last meeting that we had. However, what we have to do, I think we have to modify in whatever, if you deem it appropriate. If you don't deem it appropriate, you don't modify it, but we have to modify the actual ordinance that gives us the order of the agenda to reflect some sort of reality, whether it be the current reality or whether it be a new and different reality. With words, without words, it doesn't matter to me, I suppose.
You said we could always do more.
Certainly.
So what we're doing right now, our agenda is more than the ordinance. So what is the obligation to rush to change the ordinance when we are in compliance? We're doing more than what the current ordinance says. And that's why we want to have the discussion to decide what we want that to look like. And that was the path we were going down. We had the rules and procedure document that we were discussing to decide how we wanted to modify this ordinance. And so that was the tool that we were using. I mean, my motion was,
I have a right to have some commentary here, Mayor. Can I be recognized, please?
no, we're going to,
Actually, by charter, I have the right to speak
you
at
have
these
a right
meetings.
when you're recognized, but I want to finish the discussion with the council about this
Okay,
rules and
fantastic.
procedure document. Is there anyone else who has a comment about the rules? Go ahead.
So are we just doing it out of order? Are we missing something? Are we adding something? What?
I would submit that the proper order would be to address however you want the agenda to look like. I think the city manager, in his analysis, is correct in this regard. You address how you want the agenda to look like pursuant to our code of ordinances, and then thereafter, basically, our rules and procedures will follow by design, the way that you've already amended them, and then the way you would amend this particular ordinance as well.
And that's how we were having the discussion. We were addressing how we want it to be in the rules and procedures document. That's how we were having the conversation.
I suppose what I would suggest, Madam Mayor, is that is a policy document, right? It's a policy document, and we're amending backwards, I suppose.
It's the policy document that we were using to make decisions about how we wanted to frame the ordinance. I mean, that's how, we've talked about it 3 times already, right?
Yes, ma'am.
Right. That's the process we were going through. And when we last left it, there were amendments that you were making based on our discussions, and we were going to take that document out
Yes, ma'am.
and continue and decide where we wanted to go from there. And based on where we wanted to go from there, and we actually had that conversation, based on where we wanted to go from there, then we would write the ordinance. We talked about that. We had that very conversation in a meeting. And that's the course that we were planning to continue. You were asked if it was going to be on the agenda. We were told in the Friday feedback it would be on the agenda, and it is not on the agenda, and that's what I take umbrage with.
Well, you shouldn't take umbrage, ma'am. You should perhaps listen to the city manager for his analysis. I heard that analysis, and even I, as the attorney, and he as not as the attorney, I recognize the wisdom of his analysis. And that's why I changed course. Ultimately, I don't think it makes a difference for either the city manager or myself as to the item per se.
It makes a difference to us, though, whether or not.
No, I understand.
Whether or not the council, the way the council wants to approach things is respected, is how it makes a difference to us. Mr. Riker?
Yes, I respected the way council wanted so much that I went back and looked at all the agendas and watched everyone's comments on this item, and I'll go through a chronological order of things. So November 18th, it was requested that the rules and procedures be on the agenda. December 2nd, the meeting minutes reflect that a consensus is to consider this document at a future meeting, which turned out to be January 20th. December 16th, Mayor, you made a motion for ordinance 789, section 2-35. I inquired, what is this? And you responded, how the agenda is prepared. I said it would be the second meeting in January. January 6th, we had a closed session on all legal matters. Mayor, you had asked to run us to the status of policies of procedures, and he said the next meeting, which was the 20th. At the 20th, it was 9E, City Attorney's Review of Rules and Procedures. During this meeting, at meeting 52, and I would encourage everybody to go to January 20th, meeting 52, and pick up, because, Mayor, you have a lot of great comments that aren't in support of what you're saying today. So during this meeting, at meeting 52, I think it was chapter 2, section 263, ordinance Rennis referred to, which is the order of business. So because the ordinance supersedes the rules and procedures, and the ordinance is from 1978, if you recall, Michelle had pointed out to me, I had brought it up and I said, we don't do this. This is not how we're operating. Mayor, you stated that this is a moot point. We need to take a look at the ordinance. So same meeting, Councilmember Tinlin references the words of inspiration, as did others. Councilmember Slawinski brought up the change of public comment. The city attorney explains again, they can add, not take away. It ended with comments from the mayor. Put a pin in this. There's more to come on this topic. Pro Tem, you asked, how will this come back to us as far as, like a red line, edited version? And we said, yes, that would happen. And basically it was ended discussion as it was just that. And then on February 3rd, city attorney, during his comments, referenced AI research in a court of law. He referenced Town of Grace versus Galloway, stands for the exact opposite of what was previously stated. The city attorney did say 2.35. He told me later on he meant 2.63. Court held that the Establishment Clause never prohibited prayer or forcing it to be non-sectarian. The prayer is sanctioned by law of the highest court in the land. Procedure and policy was said to be at the next meeting. The city attorney and I did discuss, like, hey, we are, in fact, because this ordinance is a two-part first reading, second reading, we're like, hey, we should probably have the first reading on this to set the framework of what the ordinance is going to be, and then from that you can derive the policies and procedures. And then, Mayor, even at the last meeting on the 3rd, you mentioned when it was going to go, that I put it on, and I referenced I reminded you that in my January 29th, when I submitted the agenda, that on that I said it would be the next agenda. And so him and I did speak about this before this meeting, and the agenda went out, and that was the reason why the rules and the policies were not on here, is because of the need to put the ordinance first.
So the ordinance that I request be on the agenda, ordinance 789, section 2.35, reads, all reports, communications, ordinance, resolutions, contracts, documents, and other matters be submitted to the council shall be delivered to the city manager at least 4 days preceding the meeting. The city manager shall immediately arrange a list of matters according to the order of business and furnish each member of the council, the mayor, the city clerk, the city attorney, a copy of the agenda prior to the council meeting as far as an advancement of the meeting as time for preparation will permit. None such matters shall be presented to the council by administrative officials except those of an urgent nature, and matters when so presented shall be written approval of the city manager. This was put in place on October 1st of 2024. That is the ordinance that I wanted to discuss, because this ordinance, in my mind, as I opposed it when it was put in place in October of 24, needs to be revised. It has absolutely nothing to do with the ordinance that appears on the agenda tonight.
And neither does 789, because 789 doesn't exist. I'm making an assumption here that maybe you're talking about 786.
That's, 786. I said it wrong. That's what it says, 786. That is the ordinance that I asked be put on the agenda.
No, you said 789.
I said 786. I looked it up in the minutes from that day because I couldn't find it. It's in the minutes of 786. It's in the minutes. So, back to the
Probably
issue
not
at
on film
hand.
that way, though.
I have gone on a diatribe. I would want the motion, so I made a motion that 7H be modified such that it is a discussion of the rules and procedure document. If no one seconds it, it dies and we move on.
Support.
Support. Does anyone have any other discussion?
Should I just amend my motion because we have a motion on the floor?
Or do you have a motion on the floor? So I'm amending your motion to approve or I would like to amend your motion to approve the agenda to modify 9H to be a discussion of the rules and procedures document versus what's written here.
I accept that modification.
Thank you. And we have a support.
Support.
Any other discussion? Roll call, please.
Yes.
Councilmember Pelton,
Yes.
Councilmember Rikovich,
Yes.
Councilmember Slawinski,
Yes.
Councilmember Spisak,
Yes.
Councilmember Tinlin,
Yes.
Mayor Moffett.
Yes. All right. We have approved the agenda as modified. Now, our next item is public comment for items on the agenda. So there's two opportunities for public comment. This one's for items on the agenda. The one later is for items not on the agenda. So I just want to remind everyone of that. So if you want to speak about items on the agenda, please come forward now. We're going to ask that you state whether or not you're a resident of Clausen or not. You will be afforded 4 minutes to speak, and I welcome you to the podium at this time. Items on the agenda.
Hi, Jamie Gills, Tucanochee, Clausen resident. Good evening, council. I'm not really sure to go with this first one, but regarding the proclamation on civil immigration enforcement, I urge the council to discuss it. I'm not quite sure if it's later today or somewhere else in that discussion, but given the serious implications of this issues for residents and city operations, this is just not a national thing. This happens to affect each and every one of us. A voted resolution provides clear administration direction and ensures the public record reflects the council's intent. So I think it's important that we come back to this. In the same spirit of procedural clarity, I'd like to address Ordinance 786, Section 2.35. Council voted to place this item on the agenda for the second meeting in January. 2 meetings have occurred since then, and it has not appeared. When the council takes formal action to place an item on the agenda, and the city administration follows through on that directive, not suggestion, this enforces consistency and public confidence in the process. And then regarding the city attorney's contract and the charter transition, several members indicated they wanted additional clarity about the city's risks and liabilities. To identify an efficient path forward, I contacted Foster, Swift, Collins, and Smith, a well-respected municipal law firm. I spoke with Mike Hormier, who is the head of their municipal department, who indicated that a formal risk assessment addressing the transition language and all available options could be completed within approximately 1 week with a maximum cost of $3,500, probably less, anywhere between like $2,000 and $3,500. He advised that obtaining this assessment first would be the prudent step before taking further action. You all have an email about this. My intent is simply to demonstrate that independent analysis is available quickly and affordably so the council can proceed with documented due diligence. Since I have a little time left, I do want to address, since you're going to talk about words of inspiration, that Galloway versus the town of Greece does say that prayer is allowed. I never said that it didn't. It doesn't say prayer is necessary. And if you read the majority description or the majority opinion, it has a very narrow scope that we haven't talked about. It has to be non-discriminatory. This, in the majority decision, passed because they never turned away a volunteer, which has not happened here. I've presented the stats twice. Because everyone was allowed to speak, and it was not dominated by one institution, which ours has been. This is another possible First Amendment violation The second one I would have from this council in a year, and I've been speaking to a lawyer about it. In closing, we all share responsibility for managing the city's legal and financial risks carefully. Just as outside counsel has been used in other matters to protect the city's interest, applying that same standard here ensures decisions are made with clarity and confidence. All acts of governance, process, and policy matters, clear votes, consistent scheduling, and documented legal analysis protect this council and the community you serve. And then if I may add, this council directs this meeting. The city manager does not direct what's on the agenda except what's important and urgent for the city. When you as a council take a vote to place something on the agenda, the city manager, your employee, somebody you have oversight over, does not have the right to ignore that vote. Thank you.
Thank you. Is there anyone else who would like, ooh, sorry. Is there anyone else? Yeah.
Well, good evening, Mayor, City Council. It's an honor to be before you today. My name is Ramsey Fakori. I am a resident of this great city. I want to hopefully convey a more unifying tone in a way, because while there are many things on the agenda, I specifically came here on a busy Tuesday to speak on item 9H, speak specifically on that. And I would like to honestly thank our city attorney. I did go back and watch our last meeting. He did provide clarity and a legal framework that helped myself, and I hope the community understand the view of words of inspiration from the highest court in the land. And to be quite frank, as a resident who watches these meetings, who is very engaged, I'm a director of the Classic Community Coalition. I am very rooted in this city. My wonder, to be very clear and frank, is why is there a hyper focus on words of inspiration instead of focusing on taxes, building a better city, maybe making Clawson have blue ribbon schools? My wonder is why we're not pouring our efforts into that. You guys are very intelligent. Men and women, all of you are very, very intelligent. You come from very different backgrounds. And my hope is that we could put it into something a little bit more fruitful, per se, than maybe words of inspiration. And in our nation's history, and I'll be very brief, in our nation's history, people with different beliefs have still found a way to stand under one flag. Every one of us. One constitution, one shared responsibility, and that's to the common good. And to echo what was stated last week, a brief word of inspiration can be a moment that points us back to what we share, that we serve our community, that we serve our neighbors, that we do what's right, that we listen well, and that we work together even when we see things differently. So in that spirit, I think we can honor that freedom together. And I would like to just once again say thank you to our mayor, to the city council, to all those that represent our city. Thank you.
Thank you. Is there anyone else who would like to speak to items on the agenda?
Hi, good evening. Amanda Treppa. I am a Royal Oak resident. I serve there on the LOCC. I would really encourage this council to have a lively discussion about 7B. Some of you know, I'm running for a seat in the legislature. So I want to address the comment made earlier. What's not partisan is fear. And the fear is really real for a lot of people who look like me. I'm Black, but I get profiled all the time. I've been carrying my passport for a year, just in case. Doesn't matter what positions I hold, doesn't matter who I know, how many calls I can make to the Senate or to your current senator right now. And the words from inspiration help keep that fear from bubbling to a boiling point so that people can function more and not be in survival mode as we stress about taxes, as we stress about our daily lives, as we worry about how to pay bills when a tire blows out. So I really do encourage this discussion because it's a real fear right now for everyone, myself included, who has privilege with having an office, with having all these extra things. So thank you.
Thank you. Is there anyone else who would like to speak to items on the agenda? Going once? All right. We now move to proclamations. 7A is proclamation recognizing February as Black History Month, and I'm going to go ahead and read that proclamation first. And that says, whereas February 26 marks the 50th anniversary of the official observance of Black History Month in the United States, a recognition that builds upon the work begun by historian Dr. Carter G. Wilson in 1926 to ensure that the Black history of Americans would not be ignored, diminished, or erased. And whereas every president since Gerald Ford has designated the month of February as Black History Month, affirming the national importance of acknowledging the profound and lasting contributions of African Americans to the founding, development, culture, and progress of our nation. And whereas the Black History Month was established not only to celebrate achievement, but also to confront the painful and enduring legacy of slavery, segregation, systematic racism, and injustice that African Americans have faced throughout our nation's history. And whereas the city of Clawson recognizes the strengths, resilience, faith, and courage of African American ancestors and leaders who struggle for freedom, civil rights, and equal protection under the law, often at great personal sacrifice. And whereas we acknowledge that the pursuit of justice and equality continues today, and meaningful recognition requires both reflection and action to dismantle racial inequities and foster opportunity for all. And whereas by studying and honoring Black history, we deepen our understanding of our shared American story, confront the harms of prejudice and discrimination, and reaffirm our commitment to building a community in Clawson that upholds dignity, equity, inclusion, and belonging for every resident. Therefore, I, Susan Moffett, Mayor of Clawson, do hereby proclaim February 2026 as Black History Month in Clawson. All right, now we move on to item 7B, and if I could get a motion to discuss the proclamation.
Madam Mayor, I make a motion to discuss Proclamation 7B, Clawson Department and Civil Immigration Enforcement.
Support.
Support.
All right. Councilmember Tinlin?
Well, I think I said my piece, and part of it was just not understanding the process where I thought this ordinance was going to be read right up front, right? And I wanted to have it in public record, majority discussion, et cetera. So I think I've gave the points I have. So I'll yield the floor to anyone else who wants to speak on it.
Okay. There's a little thing to read here. I'm going to go ahead and read that. 3 members of council requested that the city attorney draft a statement that could be supported by the council. The city attorney will assist in the disposition of this item. Is there any other comments, or do we want to ask Mr. Nushai to opine on it? And Chief Baus, if you want to go ahead and come up too for any questions. Councilmember Peltonen?
Yes, I am one of the council members who asked for this proclamation because I believe that many citizens in Clawson have been looking for some sort of security, some sort of guidance to know where Clawson stands in supporting their citizens and their students and their people walking around. And so I think it's just scary when you have no idea if your own police department has your back. So I know a lot of people are just kind of curious because we've seen it going both ways. And I think it is very here right now. Just because they haven't knocked on your door, it's here. And I don't think it's an overreaction.
Go ahead.
Do you mind if I make a
Please,
statement?
go ahead.
Okay. Good evening, Madam Mayor and Council. I prepared a statement for you guys, hopefully to just relieve, like Councilmember Pelton said, a little bit of fear or what you can expect actually if ICE is here. Okay, so the Clawson Police Department's focus will always be on the safety and well-being of its residents and visitors to the city.
Could I just, they have this fancy new microphone, if you could just pull it down.
A little short.
There
Yeah.
we go, that would be perfect.
All right. I'm not aware of any ICE activity in our city. I have not been contacted by ICE or any federal agency regarding immigration enforcement. The acting special agent in charge of Homeland Security investigations for the state of Michigan has assured all Michigan chiefs that they will contact us if they come to our community. The Clawson Police Department does not participate in federal task force. We do not have a 287 agreement, and we do not enforce civil immigration that's tasked to federal agencies. I'm not aware of any Oakland County community that has a 287 agreement. The Clawson Police Department follows applicable laws and our operations while being committed to a passionate and equitable response and services for our community. In the event that ICE conducts an operation in our city, we will respond to calls for assistance to ensure the safety of all individuals involved. We will neither assist nor impede a legal civil immigration enforcement operation. It is my responsibility to ensure safety while also ensuring that our department remains impartial to politics that may occur at the local, state, and federal level. We recognize the effects that immigration enforcement has on our immigrant communities, to include the fear of local police and the fear of reporting a crime to local authorities. We also recognize that effective border security helps reduce crime and protect all people who reside and work in our community. We are committed to building trust with our immigrant communities and reassuring immigrants who visit our community that they will not be targeted for their immigration status when reporting crimes. We balance the protection of national security and community safety with community trust and cooperation. And I'd also like to just provide a couple examples. We did support Clawson High School students and assisted with them with organizing and making sure that they were safe while they did a walkout last week. Further, we have been assisting not a local group, but just a resident who has organized 60 to 80 people of her family and friends who are going to be having a peaceful protest, and we've been assisting them with organizing that protest. So we are here to support our community the best we can, and our goal really is just to provide safety for everybody, regardless of their stance on this topic.
Do you have any objections to anything that's written in this proclamation?
I wouldn't necessarily call it an objection, and I haven't seen the final document. But the original document I saw, which may be the final one, there is some concern given that we have contracted services with the city of Troy, and our general practice that has been in place for as long as I've worked here, almost 21 years, has been that if somebody is arrested for a crime and we know that they're an undocumented citizen, and by that I don't mean somebody that maybe overstayed their visa. I mean that we have some type of belief or they told us that they're here illegally. The process has always been to contact Border Patrol once they're released from custody. So after the criminal matter is handled, that has been the process. I have been in contact with the Troy Police Chief, and I certainly don't want to speak on his behalf, but they have not made any changes to their policies and procedures. And to be honest, at this point, I don't quite know how that proclamation would really affect their procedures.
So, Mr. Nushai, yes.
I'm ready.
I knew you would be.
And the chief and I spoke. I did amend it because, Madam Mayor, when you and I spoke with respect to this, you asked whether the chief had any objections. I submitted the original document of the chief. The chief outlined these very concerns, and I did make amendments to it. The language that we have here today is modified to keep, obviously, the contract in mind that we have for booking and jailers with the city of Troy, as well as everything else that the chief has outlined. It retains the same general contours of the agreement, of the document as it remained, as it was when you reviewed it, Chief, but it has those amendments. We softened the language with respect to those 4 points that we've requested when it comes to the resolution itself. So I believe it achieves both of those goals. The goals, as stated in Councilmember Peltonen's initial request and question during the council meeting, what you reviewed, Madam Mayor, as well as what the chief reviewed, but also keeping in mind, again, the contract itself. We obviously cannot, of necessity, we cannot direct the city of Troy officers to do anything that they're unwilling, unable to do.
Would it be safe to say, whereas it's not enforceable, it is reflective of the current practices in place? And that's the intent of it, is to openly transparently communicate the practices that are in place currently.
Yes, I-
That's its sole intention.
I could not have articulated it any better myself.
Okay, perfect. All right, let's go down. Councilmember Pelton, anything else?
No, thank you very much.
Councilmember Rinkovich.
Yeah, for discussion's sake, I think, it's great to hear that there's engagement with the community, with the school, with this individual, but we have had members of the community reach out to council. There's also been members of the community reaching out on Facebook. I think the purpose of a proclamation like this, too, is helpful for council and the community, so we have something PR-wise, something publicly that we can utilize when, we do get outreach from the community. And we don't want to speak on behalf of the police. So if there is something that we can have that's joint, that is, maybe if you could look at that, because that was my question, has the chief looked at this? Like, is this something that, has been looked at that you guys have okayed? I think there were a couple of questions that, about reporting back to ICE, CPB, like what your agreement is with that. So I think some of those things just have to be flushed out first. I want to make sure we have something, though, that we can take back to the community, because I think there's a gap there. There's a communication piece that's missing that we don't have right now. There's just that gap in the middle, and I think a proclamation would help. I like proclamations for that. I'm more of an active, like the doing part is more my wheelhouse too, so I love hearing that, but we also need that piece. So, but I do want to make sure it's something that all parties can get behind, so, yeah.
So I'm happy to prepare a statement or type my notes up, if you would like. I'm not necessarily, against the proclamation. However, don't really feel it's necessary. I guess in several conversations with colleagues, regarding this matter that we've had, I just want to bring to your attention, there are no other communities besides maybe Ferndale that I'm aware of that have even discussed having something of this nature. And I'm not sure where Ferndale ended up falling with that. So I wouldn't want to bring unnecessary attention to the city that could potentially cause problems. We don't have a problem here right now, and I do understand, I can't remember who said it, that just because we don't have a problem doesn't mean we won't have a problem. I feel you on that. I just don't know that it's really necessary. Also, sometimes police officers, when they get a direction telling them that they're going to do something, it starts to make them feel defensive, like we're doing things the right way. We truly support our community. Everybody cares. And I would hate for this to spin just because somebody thinks a proclamation is needed, and I'm happy to prepare a statement if you would
Just
like.
something, I feel like we need something, though. I don't want to speak, I know not to speak on behalf of first responders, believe me. Like, I would prefer, like, in that regard, like, I don't want to make up something like that. So please, if we could have
I'm going to give everyone a
something,
chance
yes.
to speak before I
Okay.
come back. Go ahead.
So, yeah.
Mayor Pro Tem O'Rourke.
Yeah. So I guess my only concern is it's a proclamation, but it's reading like we're directing the police chief right now. And I don't know, help me out on what council's powers are as far as directing our police force.
Well, council, of course, certainly could. Council outlines legislative strategy and carries legislative authority with it. At the end of the day, the chief, even though the direct employee of the city manager, in the way the hierarchy works, you have some legislative authority with respect to this. I was careful to the greatest extent possible to ensure that this document does not necessarily operate, does not use the word direct, it uses the word instruct, right? And to me, as an attorney, there's a quantifiable difference there, keeping that precisely in mind, both reflective of the actual practice of the City of Clawson Police Department, as well as the stated desire, if that be your will at the end of the day, depending on how the vote goes. And obviously, law is art at the end of the day. It's not science, so we use language to the best of our ability. I think this bridges that gap, that the concerns that are outlined on sort of both sides of this particular issue and argument. I hope we've achieved that. I think this does. But obviously, as to whether we do carry the day or not, it depends on the vote of yours.
Okay, gotcha. Yeah, and like I think I've talked to the chief. Like we have not dedicated any resources to supporting ICE. We're not getting requests for support, correct? No. And like you said, we don't participate in these I don't know, federal government programs that they tout. So I'm all for getting this information out to the public to let them know that our police department is keeping our resources within class and protecting the residents. So that's all I have to say.
Councilmember Slawitsky.
I had one of the same questions that you did, Aiden. I just didn't see where it was in the city's purview to tell the police department what to do. And you explained that, so that's all I had.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Councilmember Spishak.
Thank you. Yeah, so I know we might not have had any ICE activity within the city limits, but we have had members of this community that have been affected by ICE that I have witnessed firsthand. And I just think that it's an opportunity for us to really cement something in place that makes sense. I've seen people have somebody that is a member of this community who was viscerally shaken by the encounter and everything. So, and you know, they're a U.S. citizen. It's sort of like what the lady said in the public comment. They carry their passport around, and it, you know, did no justice to them. So, I just would love to see something in writing.
And any other? Have you said your piece, Councilmember Tinlinder?
Yeah, I think I do. And I was in the camp that I don't think it's in our wheelhouse for the city to tell, the council to tell the police department how to do their job. And I respect them immensely. So that's why I had some ire on this ordinance, or this, not this ordinance, but just proclamation.
So one more comment from Councilmember Peltonen.
Yeah.
And then we'll entertain a motion to either move it forward or kill it. That
Was just wanting to get something that people can hear from somebody of authority. And so I think there is a sense of urgency. And so we had received some people reach out and an email that was not responded to for a while. So it was looking for some sort of, assurance to the community.
And just in response to that too, I mean, you guys aren't the only ones that have had people reach out. I've met with some members of the community, and to respect their privacy, I didn't necessarily want to share that, but you know, I've taken the time to meet with people who have brought concerns to our attention and hopefully try to make them feel a little more safe, or, you know, a little more, just not as fearful. So.
Councilmember Rinkovich.
Yeah, so I know we're talking proclamations right now, and it sounds like we still have a lot more conversation around the proclamation situation, but, and proclamations a lot of times are talk, but I think we need to talk policy too sometimes here, and maybe moving away a little bit from the law enforcement side. But I've been trying to think creatively on things we can do as council, or maybe think. So I've been working a lot out in the community and doing things like community response plans, talking to folks, other municipalities on what they've been doing and what they've been seeing. So just some things to think about. One thing I thought that was really interesting in terms of policy stuff we can look at is maybe like going to planning commission. I know some municipalities are looking at zoning ordinances, looking at their zoning and adequately addressing detention or custodial facility uses, bringing options back to council for consideration on that, trying to look and see.
I'm going to do a little point of order here. I mean, that's something you can maybe talk about during your council comments.
I'm fine to do that, but I just wanted to bring up, like, maybe instead of like proclamation right now, we can start looking at policy stuff. That might be a different option if this is a little too hot.
So one more thing before we try and get a motion, Chief Baus, what is your guidance for any of us? If someone reaches out, with a concern or a question, do we just direct them back to you? Do we tell them to, what would you, if someone stops us at Meyer and says, hey, what's your guidance?
Yeah, so I can prepare a statement for you that summarizes basically what I said already, and you're more than welcome to direct them back to me.
Okay.
Officers have been directing them to me when they come in with concerns.
And I think that's
so.
I know that I've forwarded a couple emails to you from different people, and you've been incredibly responsive. And I think at the end of the day, before any of us try and pretend that we have any, I think directing them to you, and if you give us a statement, I think that would be Superfly, and then we could just go from there. So I appreciate that. All right, so, would someone like to make a motion? Oh, yes.
For clarity, then, 'cause it sounded like you wanted the chief's statement instead of the proclamation. That's,
Not necessarily instead, I think in addition to. Yeah, if she's going to send us something in addition that we would have, that as
think-
people come to us, that we could say, hey, this.
Chief, I'm not putting words in your mouth, but I could have swore you said that you thought the proclamation wasn't necessary and that your statement would carry the day.
That's correct.
That's what she said.
Understood? Do we have a motion about the proclamation? We need either a motion to move forward with putting it in place or to turn it down.
I move to put the proclamation in place.
Okay? Do we have a support?
I support.
All right, we've discussed it ad nauseum, unless anyone else has last thoughts. So we have a motion to put the proclamation in place with the support. Can we get roll call, please?
Councilor Rinkovich,
Yes.
Councilor Slawinski,
No.
Councilor Spishak,
Yes.
Councilor Tinlin,
No.
Mayor Moffett,
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem O'Rourke,
Yes.
Councilor Pelton,
Yes.
Okay. So the proclamation has moved forward. I'm going to go ahead and read it. And it says, and I'll try and get all the words right this time. It says, proclamation of the city, of the Clawson City Council, whereas the Clawson City Council is committed to the protection of civil rights, constitutional due process, equal protection under the law, and the promotion of trust between residents and government institutions, and whereas the Clawson Police Department serves all residents of the city of Clawson and plays a critical role in ensuring public safety, community trust, and effective law enforcement, and whereas U.S. Immigration and Customs Enforcement, i.e. ICE, in the federal agency charged with enforcing federal immigration laws, and as such, civil enforcement responsibilities are not delegated to local law enforcement absent of judicial warrant or statutory mandate, and whereas neither Michigan law nor federal law requires local police to participate in civil immigration enforcement activities absent actions that are accompanied by valid judicial warrant, and whereas compliance with ICE administrative requests can potentially expose municipalities to constitutional liability, legal challenges, and financial risk, including claims arising from unlawful detention, and whereas numerous municipalities across the states and throughout Michigan have adopted policies limiting cooperation with ICE in order to preserve constitutional policing, protect public resources, and maintain community trust. Now therefore, be it resolved that the Clawson City Council instructs the Clawson Police Department not to engage in activities that assist ICE in civil immigration enforcement, including but not limited to, 1, detaining individuals solely on the basis of an administrative request not supported by judicial warrant, 2, participating in joint operations or task force with ICE related to civil immigration enforcement, 3, questioning individuals regarding immigration status absent of legitimate law enforcement purpose, and 4, sharing non-public, personal, or custodial information with ICE without a judicial warrant or legal mandate. Be it further resolved that nothing in this proclamation is intended to limit the Clawson Police Department's obligation to comply with a valid judicial warrant, court orders, or applicable state or federal law, and be it further resolved that the Clawson City Council reaffirms its commitment to public safety, constitutional rights, and community-based policing by ensuring that all Clawson residents can interact with law enforcement without fear of civil immigration enforcement, and be it finally resolved that a copy of this proclamation be transmitted to the Clawson Police Department for review and implementation, adopted by Clawson City Council on February 17th, 2026. All right. Having concluded with that, we now move to consideration of improving the following consent agenda. The consent agenda consists of the minutes of the regular city council meeting held on Tuesday, February 3rd, 2026 as presented, 2026 coin-operated amusement device distributor license renewals for the following businesses: Pro Vending at 17054 Bell, East Point, Michigan, 48021, Union Music Company, located at 20530 Harper Woods, Michigan, 48225. The coin-operated amusement device exhibitor license renewals for the following businesses: Fabricare Cleaners, coin-operated laundry, 107 North Main Street, Clawson, was that Ari? I don't know how to say that. 3926 Fraternal Order of Eagles at 174 Bowers. The Old Detroit Burger Bar listed at 27 East 14 Mile Road, Renshaw Lounge at 210 East 14 Mile Road, Tavern on the Main, 235 South Main Street, The Hideout, 1110 West 14 Mile Road, Whiskey Tango Foxtrot at 28 South Main Street, Clawson Local at 143 East 14 Mile Road. The 2026 dance entertainment license renewals for the following businesses: Clawson area again, whatever, 3926 Fraternal Order of Eagles at 174 Bowers, Clawson Steakhouse at 56 South Rochester Road, The Hideout at 1110 West 14 Mile Road, Whiskey Tango Foxtrot at 29 South Main Street, Old Detroit Burger Bar at 27 East 14 Mile Road, Tavern on the Main at 235 South Main Street, Three Cats Cafe at 116 West 14 Mile, Red and the Wolf at 110 East 14 Mile Road, and the list of the bills in the amount of $1,666,488.43.
Madam Mayor, I move the consent agenda be approved as presented.
Support. All right. Roll call, please.
Councilmember Slowinski,
Yes.
Councilmember Spisak,
Yes.
Councilmember Tinlin,
Yes.
Mayor Moffett,
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem O'Rourke,
Yes.
Councilmember Peltman,
Yes.
Councilmember Rinkovich.
Yes.
All right. We now move on to item 9A. Item 9A is consideration of public hearing for the 2026 Class C/on-premise liquor licenses for the listed businesses. So if I can get a motion.
Madam Mayor, I move that the 2026 Class C on-premise liquor license for the listed businesses be approved based on the reports and approval provided by the Chief of Police, Fire Marshal, Building Department, Water Department, and City Treasurer. And seeing there has been no recommendation for revocation or denial of a renewal of the respective liquor licenses, and based on the following conditions be approved. Number one, continued payment of all delinquent property taxes, continued payment of all property taxes due on or before Friday, February 14th, 2026, and continued payment of all delinquent water bills.
Do I have a support?
Second.
Okay. Mr. Nushai,
Yes, ma'am.
public hearing, Mr. Riker just needs to read this, and that's it. It's not a public it's not a conversation, right? No, we don't
Open
need
a
to.
public hearing. If anybody has any concerns, they can come.
So I do
now.
open public?
Yes.
Okay, all right, thank you, that's, I wasn't sure. Mr. Riker, do you want to go ahead? I'm tired of reading stuff.
According to the ordinance and policy for the renewal of the following Class C on-premise liquor license, the businesses have made application for their 2026 renewal and have been inspected by the fire marshal, which includes a review of any expired permits, open code enforcement violations, and active certificates of occupancy, and interior inspections, and by the police department, which state the businesses are compliant. See attached reports. The businesses highlighted in yellow, and I will update you on that in a second here, were notified of this public hearing, which stated the license renewal fees, delinquent taxes and or water to the city of Clawson. So Woodpile has paid, Renshaw has paid, Red and the Wolf, they owe on their property, personal property tax, and they have till the end of the month. Osaka has paid $11,000. They owe $9,000 on water, which they've said they'd pay in 2 weeks, and they still have $50,000 outstanding in taxes. It is our recommendation, my recommendation, that all licenses be renewed with the stipulation that each establishment continues to pay their delinquent taxes and delinquent water bills in a timely manner.
So I will now open the floor for public comment for anyone who wants to opine on any of these licenses.
Public hearing.
Public
Yeah.
hearing, sorry.
Right.
Public hearing, anyone wishing to speak on any of the licensing? Hearing no one getting out of their seat. I'm going to close public hearing. And then I have a question. You mentioned Osaka has quite a large outstanding balance. And is that balance carried over from a previous year?
No,
Or is
that's,
that,
unfortunately, they tend to conduct business this way, and I'm going to propose work internally with staff, and if need to, through the city attorney, to maybe collect from them on a monthly basis.
so
all
this isn't
businesses.
like they didn't pay it last year. They paid everything up last year, but then they let it accumulate throughout the year and then,
We go through these gyrations. They got a little bit better this year, but we go all the way through the point of getting ready to turn it off, and then they pay.
okay. All right, so any other comments, questions, thoughts? Hearing none. Let's have a roll call.
Councilor Spishak,
Yes.
Councilor Tinlin,
Yes.
Mayor Moffett,
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem O'Rourke,
Yes.
Councilmember Pelton,
Yes.
Councilor Rinkovich,
Yes.
Councilor Slawinski.
Yes.
All right, we have just approved the on-premise liquor licenses for the businesses listed based on the conditions outlined for those people. Moving on to item 9B. 9B is consideration of the January 31st, 2026 budget amendments for fiscal year 2025, 2026.
Madam Mayor, I move the budget amendments effective on 1/31/2026 for fiscal year 2025-2026 be approved as presented.
Support.
All right. Mr. Riker?
For the Uniform Budgeting and Accounting Act, PA2 of 1968, 141.437, Section 17, subsection 1, except as otherwise provided in Section 19, a deviation from the original General Appropriation Act shall not be made without amending the General Appropriations Act. Subject to Section 16, subsection 2, the legislative body of the local unit shall amend the General Appropriations Act as soon as it becomes apparent that a deviation from the original General Appropriations is necessary and the amount of the deviation can be determined. An amendment shall indicate each intended alteration and the purpose of each appropriation item affected by the amendment. The summary of the budget amendments is as follows. In the General Fund 101, the net impact of the budget amendments will change the amended budget deficit of $1,147,855 to an amended budget deficit of $1,294,505. DDA Fund 248, the net impact of the budget amendments will decrease the original budget surplus from $59,250 to $16,650. Library Fund 271, The net impact of the budget amendments will create a budget deficit of $44,560 to an amended budget deficit of $52,760. 2025 UTGO Bond Project Fund number 425. The net impact of the budget amendments will create a project budget of $8,002,000 and an estimated revenue for interest earned of $850,000. The estimated fund balance on June 30th, 2026 was $16,700,780. Water and Sewer Fund 592, the net impact of the budget amendment in the Water and Sewer Fund would increase the retained earnings deficit from $292,045 to $361,295, and the working capital estimated deficit is $21,500 and is estimated to be $2,401,144. Motor Equipment Fund 667, the net impact of the budget amendments will change the original budget surplus from $47,900 to $13,050. All other funds have been reviewed and do not need additional budget amendments at this time. Finance Director Mark Pollack is present for discussion.
Mr. Pollack, you know I have questions. So I feel like good afternoon, evening, whatever it is.
I might have answers.
I know you will, because I feel like I ask you this every time.
Okay.
But every time I read that there's a deficit, I'm like, we have a deficit. Can you please explain why that's nothing for me to freak out about?
Yeah, we do have several deficits in our funds. The good news is we're good financial stewards. So we have surplus to expend, and on an annual basis, if we have a deficit for the year, we still have healthy fund balances in all of our funds. The general fund, almost 1.3 million deficit sounds huge. It is a large amount, but because we moved amendments from last year to this year, we actually had a surplus last year of almost the exact same amount. So we added to fund balance last year around 1.3. We're going to take away, if we expend everything and get all the revenues, we expect about the same amount, about 1.3. The other funds, the smaller amounts, again, generally there's healthy fund balances in every fund that we have. So this is deficit spending, but it's still being financially responsible because you have the surplus to expend. And it's not something we do every year, but it is something that we're prepared to do, and we do it as part of the budget process.
And so overall, our budget is balanced and everything. We're not in the red. We're not spending money we don't have or anything like that.
Right.
All
We are for the year in a deficit spend, but we have a reserve of about 4.3 million in the general fund. So we'll be back down to about 3 million if everything we amended is received and spent.
Okay. Questions, Councilmember Peltonen? Councilman Rinkovich.
Yeah, I've got a couple. So, and maybe this has kind of answered it a little bit. So at a high level, the amendments, it kind of sounds like not every year, but it sounds like there's some routine year-to-date adjustments that kind of happen. Is there anything we should be aware of as we approach, like, the end of the fiscal year?
Yeah, we'll be back in June.
Okay.
Based on what we've done in the first two set of amendments, I know that for this council, it's the first time. There should be very few in June, but based on state law, we have to have a balanced budget within our departments. And if we need to amend, we'll be back before council likely at the end of June with some minor budget amendments. We don't expect anything large to come before you unless something catastrophic happens, so.
Okay, so projected year-end fund balance?
It'll be around a little over 3 million for
Okay.
the general fund.
Okay, a little over 3, and then I think I'm good. Thank you.
All right. Mayor Pro Tem O'Rourke. Councilmember Slawinski.
I have no questions.
Councilmember Spishak.
No questions here. Thank you.
Councilmember Tinlin.
No, I'm good this time, so.
Awesome. All right. Hearing no other questions, roll call, please.
Councilmember Tinlin,
Yes.
Mayor Moffett?
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem O'Rourke? Councilmember Peltonen? Councilmember Rinkovich?
Yes.
Councilmember Slawinski?
Yes.
Councilmember Spisak?
Yes.
All right. we
Before I
have-
step away, can I, Ryan Tracy is here, former police detective. He's training to take over for me. He's doing a great job so far. He's like a sponge. He enjoys it. I've done it 34 years. I told him I'm not gonna be able to teach him everything in 3 or 4 months, but the plan is he will take over for me at some point within the next few months, and I have every faith that he's gonna do a great job. So,
Do you have an exit date in mind?
I will end my schedule at the end of April, but I
Oh,
will
okay.
be here to help him through the budget process with council, and then I'll be back when he needs, like the audit, I'll be back for that to help him, because that's a long process, so.
Can I
But I'll
ask
be
a
back
question?
to help as needed.
Can I ask a question about it?
What's your question?
Oh, it's about that. Are there safeguards or anything to ensure continuity and accuracy as you're transitioning out? Or
Yeah.
what do you
I'll-
guys have in place? Are you going to come back in front of council beforehand? You guys have like,
Yeah, I
can we
will
plan for
absolutely-
something like that?
I'm not going anywhere. I live in Clausen. I'll be here to help him. I told him as he needs. He actually lives on the street behind me, so he said he only bugged me a couple times a week.
I'm
But
just,
no,
I'm very type A. I like plans and process and
Over the
procedure.
fence,
I
is
just
it?
want to make sure.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, I have no doubt that the continuity and the job itself will be done at a high standard, and I think Ryan's gonna be great at that position, so I have every confidence in him.
All right, thank you
Thank you.
both. We, I don't know if I said it already, but we have approved our budget amendments for fiscal year '25 through '26. And moving on to item 9C, which is consideration of the Oakland County P25 simulcast system interlocal agreement between Oakland County and the city of Clausen. Can I get a motion?
I move the Oakland County P25 simulcast system interlock agreement between Oakland County and the city of Clausen be approved and authorized the city manager and city clerk to execute the agreement on behalf of the city.
support.
Awesome, Mr. Riker.
As stated in the memo from Chief Bowes, Oakland County has operated and maintained a countywide interoperable public safety communication system since 2004 and is updating user agreements for all agencies utilizing the new Oakland County P25 radio system. A current signed agreement is required to maintain continued access to the radio system. The agreement ensures accurate records of authorized users, support system security, governance, and compliance with policies, and confirms ongoing participation in the P25 radio system. Entities have been operating on the system since 2023 without an agreement in place. This is a standard agreement which replaces our old one as requested by the county. The updates included filling in sections on pages 3, section 2, page 12, subsection 20.2, and page 13, section 21. And Chief Bowes is here if there are any questions.
Do you want to come up? Before I ask for questions, do you have anything you want to add about that?
I think Mr. Raker summarized it with my memo.
All right, awesome. Councilmember Tinlin.
Yeah, I have a question. Is this also going to be compliant to the secured channel for encryption? There's a new federal law coming into place.
Yes.
Okay.
Easy. Yes.
Okay,
Moving
good.
on. Councilmember Spisak.
Nothing for me.
Councilmember Slawinski.
I don't want to assume anything, but Mr. Nusha, you've looked at this and you approve?
Yes, ma'am, I have.
Okay.
I've reviewed it and I approve.
Okay.
It is a staple agreement that we've, with minor modifications.
Okay. As a new person, I just wanted to understand, if we see something on here that,
Every contract is reviewed by me. City manager is very good at submitting everything ahead of time. I review, he gets my okay pursuant to the Charter Court of Ordinances. That's one of our obligations,
perfect, thank you.
of course.
All right. Mayor Pro Tem O'Rourke.
Nothing for me.
Councilmember Rinkovich.
I just have a quick question. Do we know, within the agreement, does it include anything with regards to like equipment replacement or anything like that? Are those costs that like we absorb and things. I know like radios and stuff can be expensive, so.
Yeah, they're between $7,000 and $9,000. Can't remember what the last estimate was for a radio. But yeah, I mean, we're responsible
Yeah.
for, additional costs
And
if we need to buy a new one.
Our fire uses it. I know EMS is private here in Clawson, but.
So, Chief Engel
Yeah, I
was
know,
my
he
partner
took
to
off,
speak
yeah.
on this. Yeah, they
All
use
good.
it too. Our ambulance company, Universal, has actually been in the process for quite a few months trying to obtain some radios for themselves. I'm not
Okay.
sure if it'll get approved or not, but they've been working on that for quite a while.
Do we know like how you guys would share costs on that?
With
like if like radios or any costs associated with this?
Didn't we
Like,
apply for some grants
is that how
originally for that? But no,
It
each
wasn't a
since we're
part of the
stepping into
original
it, that's all.
process.
I'm just trying to figure out like how that would.
So it wasn't part of the original process. It's been ongoing for a couple of years, although it took them that long to get us the agreement. But I mean, the police department pays for their radios, like we purchased one recently or last year.
So it'd be by department as needed or what
Yeah,
have you?
we
Okay.
wouldn't share any costs with
Okay.
Universal Ambulance.
Okay. Or fire or something, like it would just be.
Yeah, the
as
fire
needed.
comes out of their budget.
Yeah,
Budget.
yeah, just want to make sure.
Not using my money.
Fair.
Councilmember Peltonen.
No. I mean, like, I'm no comment.
Wow.
All right, awesome. All right, hearing no other questions, can we have a roll call, please?
Mayor Moffett,
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem O'Rourke,
Yes.
Councilmember Peltonen,
Yes.
Councilmember Rinkovich,
Yes.
Councilor Slawinski,
Yes.
Councilor Spishak,
Yes.
Councilor Tinlin.
Yes.
All right, we have just approved the simulcast interlock and agreement between Oakland County and the City of Clawson. Moving on to item 9D, which is consideration of the second reading and adoption of ordinance number 797 to amend Chapter 34, Article 10, Section 3.11 to provide incentives for ground floor parking facilities.
Madam Mayor, I move the second reading and adoption of ordinance number 797 to amend Chapter 34, Article 10, Section 3.11 to provide incentives for ground floor parking facilities be approved.
Support.
All right, I think that's you, Nick.
Yes, thank you, Mayor. As this is a second reading, I'm just going to provide a brief overview of what this ordinance amendment includes. When a minimum of 50% of the ground floor area of the building is proposed to be occupied by parking, one additional floor shall be permitted within the height limit of the district, 42 feet in the city center district and 35 feet in the CMD central mixed district. The minimum ground floor height shall be reduced to 9 feet at the finished ceiling, and the minimum floor height of upper floors shall be waived. The following shall also apply. A development using the ground floor parking option shall provide a shared open space on the site for the use of residents. The shared open space shall include at a minimum a lawn area, seating, and one canopy tree. The minimum area of the open space shall be 5% of the gross lot area and shall not include any required buffer areas. Where the ground floor parking is not fully enclosed by walls and/or doors, the parking area shall not be used for the storage of any item other than motor vehicles and bicycles. The required liner use shall be provided where a building with ground floor parking has frontage on a side street where no liner use is required. The parking area shall not be exposed on the street-facing side of the building. In the CC City Center District, the required 10-foot upper floor setback shall apply to the third and fourth floors. In the CMD District, the third floor shall be set back 10 feet. When using this option, the parking requirement for 3-bedroom units shall be reduced from 3 spaces to 2. Again, this is a second reading of this ordinance and nothing changed from the first reading, but I'd be happy to answer any questions.
All right, I'm going to just look this way. Any questions? And I'm going to look that way. Any questions? Hearing no questions. Can we have roll call, please?
Mayor Pro Tem O'Rourke,
Yes.
Councilmember Peltonen,
Yes.
Councilor Rinkovich,
Yes.
Councilor Slawinski,
Yes.
Councilor Spishak,
Yes.
Councilor Tinlin,
Yes.
Mayor Moffett.
Yes. All right. We have just approved the adoption of ordinance 797 to amend chapter 34, article 10, section 3.11 to provide incentives for ground floor parking facilities. Moving on to 9E, which is consideration of awarding the bid to the lowest qualified bidder. I should have Depono Contracting LLC for the West Maple Road Water Main Replacement and 2026 Sidewalk Gap Program Project. Can I get a motion?
Madam Mayor, I move the bid for the West Maple Road Water Main Replacement and 2026 Sidewalk Gap Program Project to the lowest qualified bidder, DePano Contracting LLC, 51251 Simone Industrial Drive, Shelby Township, Michigan 48316, for the bid amount of $1,494,941.50. In addition, we recommend that a 10% construction contingency of $149,494.15 also be approved for unforeseen conditions, for the total award amount of $1,644,435.65 be approved as presented.
Support.
Awesome. Is this Mr. Riker, Nick, who does this?
I have it, ma'am. Anderson, Eckstein, and Westrick Incorporated, AEW, prepared plans for specifications for the West Maple Road Water Main Replacement and the 2026 Sidewalk Gap Program Project. This project consists of replacing the existing 8-inch water main with a 12-inch ductile iron water main along West Maple Road between 1055 West Maple Road and North Custer Avenue, as well as installing new sidewalks at 1368 North Crooks Road, 909 West Maple Road, and 725 West Maple Road to fix the existing gaps. Following public advertisement and bid solicitation, the city received 10 bids for the reference project on Wednesday, January 21st, 2026. The low bidder was Deponio Contracting LLC with a total bid of $1,494,941.50. Attached is a copy of the bid tabulation for reference. And I'll leave it at that, ma'am, because all those numbers have been said once already.
I know I'm tongue-tied with all this reading. I know that we have our friend from the DPW here. If you want to come up, and there may not be questions, but I just want to make you come up because I know you hate it. So, so welcome. I'm going to then, Councilmember Tinlin has questions, so it was worth the walk.
I always at least have one question, right? So I have a real quick question, because it's come up in conversation that has been in the community. So this 10% contingency, do we use change order control for that? So if we have something, we approve the change before it's spent?
Correct.
Okay, because there's, I've heard before we've had a 10% kind of add-on to these projects, but didn't use change order controls. So
No,
that's
for any changes.
incorrect from some of the community. They had thought that a few times. So I like seeing this. That was my question, that if we have something unforeseen or want something different, that is all approved by the city first, right?
correct.
Okay.
That's actually a good question. Can you elaborate on that? Because that was something that was brought up at public comment last time, right? So tell me about
So
the process.
I can give you an
Yes.
example.
Cool.
On the Rochester Water Main Project,
Mm-hmm.
we came across a buried tank of some sort.
Okay.
No one knew what it was. To
Like
take
a-
care of that,
A liquid tank, not like a.
yes,
a-
not an armored tank.
Just make.
So to get that taken care of, it had to be tested. We had to know what was inside. It environmentally had to be taken care of.
Sure.
That came with an added cost. They didn't start the work until we signed off on it, because that's not part of the project. That's extra. That's what that contingency is for.
Okay.
Come across stuff. We're digging underground. You don't know what you're going to come across.
So any company you contract with can't just go, ooh, I'm going to gobble up this money. They have to go, here,
No,
can we have
the
this
contract
extra?
is by item, by line, by everything is there. If they go ahead and do some work that isn't part of the contract, that's on them.
Okay.
That's them doing free work. It has to be signed off.
And this extra is change orders.
Yeah.
And so if they don't, how often do they use up all that extra money?
I mean, my experience is limited in these. I've seen projects like Rochester where we're using it.
Because of the tank?
That didn't help. And then we've had projects where we didn't touch it.
Oh, okay.
So
Okay.
it's there to help to protect us.
And it also simplifies, so you don't have to come back to us for, if something comes up, you don't have to go, oh,
Yeah.
hold everything till there's a council meeting, we can ask them for another $100,000.
Don't take this the wrong way, but 100%.
Well, I don't, it makes sense. I mean, yeah, and I know you love being here anyhow and talking to us and everything, but, all right, cool. That makes sense. All right, you all set?
One last question. So if we don't spend the funds, does this just go back into budget? Okay. All right. That's it now.
No, we go shoe shopping. Okay.
That's a lot of shoes.
Councilmember Spishak.
Nothing from me, thank you.
Nothing from me. Thank you.
Mayor Pro Tem O'Rourke.
I have a question for the change order stuff. Is there a dollar amount that triggers it coming back to us, or if it's just like if they...
Outside of the contract, comes back to us.
Okay.
We have to sign off.
Okay, that was my only question. Thank you.
Okay, Councilmember Rinkovich.
Yeah, I guess piggybacking on that, and I've got a couple of questions. So when those contingency expenditures, like, how are they approved during construction? Do they just, like, hit you guys, like, when they come up, and then you just kind of approve them from there? Okay, and then, so does the total authorization include, like, engineering and inspection costs? Or are those accounted for separately?
In this, that would just be I don't believe
That was done separately.
Yeah.
In advance to get the bid
Yeah,
spec.
we
put
already
together.
approved AEW to do their
Okay,
portion.
okay. And then, is this work being coordinated with any other planned road or utility improvements to avoid, like, reopening stuff? Do we know?
This is actually on a Oakland County road.
Okay, that's
And
why
it's
I'm
not
just-
in the roadway. But
Okay.
we just did the sidewalk program.
Okay.
And we purposely kept that out to include during this,
Okay, cool.
instead of putting new sidewalk in and then tearing it up.
Okay. Just anytime we can do that sort of thing, it's always good. And then, is there any communication plan for any affected residents and businesses during construction?
Yes.
Okay.
There always is.
Okay, just want to make sure everyone's getting notified.
We do the best we can. Sometimes things come up, but for the most part, we.
Okay. Thank you.
Councilmember Peltonen.
I have no questions.
Awesome. All right. Having no other questions, let's do a roll call.
Councilmember Pelton,
Yes.
Councilmember Rinkovich,
Yes.
Councilmember Slawinski,
Yes.
Councilmember Spishak,
Yes.
Councilmember Tinlin,
Yes.
Mayor Moffett,
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem O'Rourke.
Yes.
All right, we have just approved to awarding the bid to Depono Contracting LLC for the West 15-mile water main replacement in the 2026 Sidewalk Gap Program project. Our next item on the agenda is consideration of a council member representative attending the 2026 Main Street Now Conference in Tulsa, Oklahoma, April 13th through the 15th of 2026. And I'm going to make a motion that we have a discussion about this item. So I move we discuss this item before making a decision of it.
Support.
All right, having a motion and support in discussion of this, I'll just go ahead and read this because you're probably tired of reading. During the February 3rd council meeting, it was requested and the administration willingly committed to having this item on the agenda. Attendance at the 2026 Main Street Now Conference provides the opportunity for elected officials, board members, and staff to learn best practices, explore innovative tools, network with peer community facing similar challenges. This agenda item is intended to discuss interest in attending and determine next steps related to the participation in travel planning, estimated expenses, lodging $830, airfare $500, registration $250. There is money in the budget for this, and I thought it was important that we have a discussion about it. I personally do not support using council training monies for this activity. I know the DDA is sending 2 people. I did some research on the conference myself, and whereas it talks about being great for city planners and understanding Main Street, I don't think it aligns with the training needs of the council at this time. And so I personally don't support using council funds, training funds allocated for this particular event. That's my personal opinion. I'm going to open it up for everybody else to opine on. So, Councilmember Peltonen.
Yes, I also did, some research on it. And I thought it looked very good for a downtown sort of development kind of thing, but not necessarily in our purview. So I agree with that.
Okay, Councilmember Rinkovich?
Yeah, I not so much looking at the training itself. I'm all for training, but I'm more about making sure that with the limited training funds we have, that I just want to make sure, you know, if we are setting a precedent on training, that it's fair to every council person, both now and in the future. So I'm more in support of, again, this is me wanting to develop plans and, but a more comprehensive approach to training allocations moving forward so that everyone has clarity and opportunity, like equal opportunity to those funds. So I know last meeting, I asked Mr. Riker about our training budget, and I know that's since changed just because of CapCon. So, you know, my biggest thing is making sure it's just equitable access. There's a lot of new members this year too, so I think there's a lot of training access that we're gonna want this year. So that's where I'm at with it. Okay. I'm all for training, just want to make sure it's equitable across the board and accessible to all of us. So,
Mayor Pro Tem O'Rourke.
Yeah, they're all making good points here. $1,500 for one of us to go is quite the hefty sum. That would pay for a ton of MML training. So I don't know if the DDA wanted to, you know, sponsor one of us, or if they thought it was good.
The DDA is sending 2 of its own members.
Right. No, I'm just saying if they wanted to,
they spent their money on sending their members.
If they wanted to dig in their budget and support one of us going, that's fine. But as far as using city council funds or you know, training funds that are allocated for city council, I don't think I'd support it just due to the sum and that, like Heather said, it's not being offered to all of us.
Councilmember Slowinski.
I mirror what you guys are saying, and I agree with that. Yeah.
Councilmember Spishak.
I've got nothing.
Okay. Councilmember Tinlin.
You know, I always have a different spin on this. I was just a little bit interested just because I had served on planning, and I'd already talked to the city attorney because of business travel. I have business locations in Oklahoma and Texas. So if anything, I was going to be just in the region at that time and just ask for registration. But I have an interest in planning in downtown. Okay. So that was my 2 cents. See, I feel that we shouldn't spend the money, but if I'm in the area, I would think about going.
You're free to do that on your own. Spend your own dime.
Oh, I can do that too.
Or charge it to your company and just say it was a really
But that was my
expensive
only
dinner.
thought too. It's just because I was going to be in the region and I was only going to look for a registration only, no travel.
Okay. So we had a discussion. We can leave it at that, or if someone wants to make a motion to approve it. We don't need a motion to deny it because we had a discussion, right? So I'm going to take a breath, see if anyone wants to make a motion. Hearing none, we will move on to item 9G. Item 9G is consideration of the appointment of Nick Forsey to the Downtown Development Authority to the expired term of October 31st, 2025 to expire October 31st, 2029.
Madam Mayor, I move the appointment of Nick Forsey to the Downtown Development Authority to expire the term of October 31st, 2025 to October 31st, 2029 be approved.
Support.
So a lot of you heard last time me bragging that we had all our boards full, and you're like, Sue, why is this on here? So just to explain, back in November, there was someone that was appointed to the DDA, and they were not sworn in within the 10-day allotment, and therefore, if they're not sworn in within 10 days, they're deemed to have had declined that appointment. I did call the gentleman and let him know that we were considering his appointment to have been declined because it was 2 months later and he was never sworn in. And that's why we have an opening now. And then I spoke to this gentleman, and I know some people on the dais here are familiar with him. Is there any discussion anyone wants to have, having given that explanation?
I just have one question. Is this I know there's different seats on the DDA. Is this a business resident? What is it called?
So
I know there's different kinds.
Yeah, and he does fit within our current construction. I know they have to, like, so many people, so for everyone's edification, for the DDA, you have to have a certain amount of business owners and a certain amount of non-business owners and residents and that sort of thing. And he is a member of, he does live in Clawson. So I did speak to the director, and this person does fit in where we, our construction right now.
Okay.
But I know that that is something that we're probably going to talk about at the meeting tomorrow. There was some discussions about where we go from there, so.
Okay.
Looking this way, any other comments, questions, concerns this way? Looking this way. Hearing none, let's call for a vote. Roll call, please.
Councilmember Rinkovich.
Yes.
Councilor Slawinski.
Yes.
Councilor Spishak.
Yes.
Councilor Tinlin.
Yes.
Mayor Moffett.
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem O'Rourke.
Yes.
Councilmember Peltonen.
Yes.
All right, we have just appointed Mr. Nick Forsey to the Downtown Development Authority, and in the last meeting, they were already assigning stuff for him to do, so he's already busy. All right. Now, item 9H, which has been modified to be a discussion of our rules and procedures document. I'm going to again make a motion that we have a discussion about the rules and procedures document. Specifically, I think we need to address where everyone stands with the words of inspiration. So that's my motion.
Support.
All right. So, and I know the one gentleman who said he came to talk about it left. So I'm sorry that he thought we weren't going to talk about it. So the last time we discussed this, we had a lot of really great ideas bantered about and how we were going to handle the words of inspiration. And I think inadvertently, Mr. Riker made a suggestion that I think is the idea I like the best. And I don't think it's the way he framed it, but he mentioned how I think it was in Congress or something like that, a different member's responsible at each meeting for that portion of the agenda. And I think that's a really excellent idea. I like the idea that, I'm just throwing this out because we're going to talk about it ad nauseum, but I like the idea on a rotating schedule, making a council member responsible for the words of inspiration, and they can do it however they feel appropriate for that meeting. So those who want a moment of silence can do a moment of silence that time. Those who want a prayer can engage a member of the clergy or their favorite church or whoever to have that be the words of inspiration that time. Those who want to read a poem, those who want to give a pagan prayer, whatever they want to do, each member of council is going to have one meeting where it can be their expression of what they feel the words of inspiration should be. That way we're going to hit a plethora of opinions and ideas and outlooks. And it will also, it further makes the council beholding to the will of the community, because we're the ones that are choosing it. We're the ones that are saying, this is what I think it should be in the moment. So that's just my thought. I'm throwing it out there. We're going to go up and down the dais. So, Councilmember Tinlin.
No, I kind of like that idea as well. So if we do the math, we have roughly 24 council meetings, so 3 times a year a council member will be able to sponsor the words of inspiration. And I like the fact that we can, I believe in mutual respect, right? So I see both sides of the coin. So I think that'd be a great idea, and hopefully that some of the council members can be very creative. I know some Buddhist monks and a few other things that will change it up a little bit. But I kind of like that, guys. I think that's kind of meeting in the middle, and we are the elected officials, so the people have selected us to lead. So I think that would be a great idea.
All right. Councilmember Spishak.
Yeah, I would echo Councilmember Tinlin. I think that that's a great idea. It's an opportunity to provide all different perspectives. I'd be okay with it.
Okay. Councilmember Slawinski.
I originally wasn't thinking like that, but I do like the idea. So I would be for it.
Cool. Mayor Pro Tem O'Rourke.
I also support it, and I also support it because it takes the onus off of city administration and puts it on us. So I like taking it, moving the responsibility to us. And you know, some people want to just, if somebody wants to skip it altogether, they can. And somebody was saying like it represents who was elected, and so I fully support this.
Councilmember Rigovich.
Yeah, I mean, to me, short of just removing it, I can't think of another equitable way of going about it other than moving it under us. So, yeah, I'm short of that. Yeah, I'm with that. So,
Councilmember Peltonen.
Well, I would like it removed just altogether. So that's not a good solution to me because I'm just thinking like, so how many more prayers am I going to have to sit through? How long are they going to be? Who are they going to offend? You know, because I think it could still be very much of the same that we've been experiencing since it switched from invocation to words of inspiration.
But this would give you the opportunity when it's your turn.
Right.
To do, then the next discussion, if we're going to do that, would be, do we want to make words of inspiration a permanent part of our procedural document and then down the road, any ordinance? And remembering that our, so Mr. Newshy, when we're writing our procedural document, we can talk about, because that document's reflective of what this council wants things to be, right? And theoretically, the next council is going to come and do whatever they want.
Actually, yes.
And so when it comes to the ordinance that we currently have in place, I mean, there's no obligation, if we were to rewrite the ordinance, there's no obligation to include words of inspiration because we can always do more than what the ordinance allows for, and our document can talk about doing more than what the ordinance allows for, but our ordinance would be the bare minimum that we have to have at a meeting.
Correct. The ordinance can be a bare minimum. Obviously, for purposes of some of the law above and beyond what our ordinance possesses, law such as, you know, case law that we have, you know, the case that we mentioned today and last time more than once, we have to, you know, the council and the public have the right to have some words of inspiration to continue with the tradition that it has had. However, I think yours is a true statement. Obviously, it's a statement that I've espoused for a long time. You can do more. You can't take away. It is bare bones what we have. My recommendation remains that we reflect in our ordinance to the best of our ability what council actually does. And I'm looking at it above and beyond. I understand that the focus of council at this moment is words of inspiration, which I leave you to it. I am personally, as an attorney, more interested in the balance of it. I would like us to consider the rest of the items that we have in practice in our agenda, which are not reflected in the ordinance. Things such as public comment for items for items on the agenda, public comments for items not on the agenda, and everything else. I think building up that ordinance in that fashion is important.
So then, in the same vein of the conversation, I'd like to discuss whether or not, and by polling all the members, if we were to, on the next agenda, take up this ordinance that was proposed tonight, do we want to codify the words of inspiration in that ordinance, or do we want to not talk about it in the ordinance and have it just be in our rules and procedures so that we're not bootstrapping anyone in the future to follow what we've deemed is our solution? That was a loaded question. I get that. That would not hold up in court. But that's the conversation I want to understand. If we were to, do we want the words of inspiration and what we're proposing to exist just in our document, or do we want to make it part of codes going forward when we're discussing them? I'm looking at Councilmember Tinling because I'm going to start down there.
Well, yeah, because, I have the document as it exists now, so I've been just kind of looking at it too. So I think some of the important stuff right now, we don't even have anything on this ordinance that even talks about the city clerk's report, city attorney's report, city manager's report. So I think there needs to be some alignment to the
Well, that's reports for officers, boards, and committees. They're officers of the.
Okay. So I guess how detailed or how granular we have to have this agenda in the actual section 2.63. As long as we keep the words of inspiration, I guess it doesn't matter to me whether it's on an ordinance or another procedure, because, if another council comes and wants to change it, then that gives them the right?
Okay.
So.
Councilmember Spishak?
I have nothing to add.
But do you have an opinion about whether you would want it codified in an ordinance or just leave it, have it just be part of our rules and procedures?
I would probably lean towards the rules and procedures, given that opportunity for us to make a change. If a new council comes in, makes a change,
Okay.
that would be my lean.
Councilmember Slawinski?
I would like to see the words of inspiration on the ordinance. And I would like to see this ordinance updated.
Which we can talk about, and once we decide how we want it to, where we want to go. But I think it was, we had to have the discussion about what we're doing with that particular item. I think, first.
Yeah.
Cool. Mayor Pro Tem O'Rourke.
I guess just a question for the city attorney. So, even if we do put it in an ordinance, the next city council could change that ordinance. It would just take them longer, right?
That's exactly right.
So I don't see a point in doing that because eventually they'll get to that. So I'd like.
And remember, if I may, not to poison the well, but to poison the well slightly, just so that you consider it, you have all the considerations. Technically speaking, the agenda, as you may be aware, as you are aware, undoubtedly, belongs to the city manager. At any given time, 2 members of council and/or the mayor may ask for a special meeting. So I've always interpreted that portion, that ability to act on behalf of 2 members of council and/or the mayor, as to an extent being able to determine items on the agenda, sort of by definition, but ultimately. The order of reports per our charter and code of ordinances belongs to the city manager. So, and I'm not saying that this is going to happen, but in spite of the fact that the council may opine one way or another, the city manager may have such an item on the agenda. And so that's perhaps ought to be a part of your consideration, just so that you know that.
All we would need to do is amend the agenda, remove it if we were opposed to that.
True statement.
Yep. Councilmember Rinkovich.
I'm not about codifying anything into an ordinance. I know other cities have removed it. I believe Berkeley removed their words of inspiration or prayer or something recently. So, and I'm not about locking anybody into anything. So that's where I'm at opinion-wise, so.
I wonder where Councilmember Peltoman was.
So I've thought a lot about it. Really, I guess my question is the same as kind of pro tems. Like, we've been having this the whole time without it being in the agenda. We can still add the other items that are mentioned in here, but it just seems unnecessary for me to add words of inspiration if we've already been doing it and it's not on there. I don't see any reason we'd.
So you could always do more, you just can't do less, right? Okay, all right. So my question from Mr. Nushai is, so we had a discussion about how we want the words of inspiration to be shown in our rules and procedures document.
Yes, ma'am.
Do we need a motion to have it modified as thus?
Okay. Copious notes last time, in spite of it.
Okay.
So the document is ready, and it'll reflect this new
Okay.
addition.
All right. And so Could we request that that be presented at the next council meeting?
Don't have to, you'll be there, ma'am.
Okay, awesome. And then I guess my next question is, that'll be on the agenda, and that'll be presented. Does the council also want to take up ordinance, or I'm going to make a motion that the next agenda also include a discussion of how the council wants to amend code, what is this? So section 2-63, order of business, with the current ordinance being the starting point for discussion, and then we can modify from there. That's a long motion, but that's my motion.
Support?
All right, so to clarify my rambling, that we are asking that this ordinance as it stands be presented on the next agenda, and then we have the opportunity to discuss how we want this modified. It'll be a discussion, and then you can go off and do your attorney magic.
Yes, ma'am.
From there. All right, so we need a roll call, please.
Councilor Spezia?
Yes.
Councilmember Tinlin?
Yes.
Mayor Moffett?
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem O'Rourke?
Yes.
Councilmember Peltman?
Yes.
Councilor Rinkovich?
Yes.
Councilor Slawinski?
Yes.
All right, and the fun continues. Our next item, 9I, is consideration of discussion on the city attorney's opinion regarding his agreement and addendum. Is there a motion?
Madam Mayor, I moved discussion regarding the city attorney's opinion regarding his fee agreement and amendum.
Support.
All right. Mayor Pro Tem O'Rourke, you supported it. Let's start with you.
Well, this is just a discussion, correct?
No, it's, yes, it's just.
Okay. Yeah, so after reading everything in the packet, in my opinion, there's, I guess, for me, I'm between two options. Either leaving it be because he's confident that the charter extended it into 2027, or we also leave it, but we get an opinion on the legality of it, just so we have a second set of eyes on it. So that's kind of where I'm not really looking at supporting the addendum at all, personally. But yeah, that's just my initial thoughts.
Okay, thank you. Councilmember Rinkovich.
Yeah, I'm in support of going out for either interim and an RFP or RFP services. So
that's the next agenda item.
Oh, okay.
So this agenda item, if you don't
Yes.
have anything you want to say
Yeah,
about
I don't
it,
have anything then
Okay,
at this point.
that's fine.
So, yeah.
Okay. Councilmember Peltonen.
So I did talk to, we had a lot of people that said, I'm not a lawyer, but, and so I talked to an attorney friend just to ask if I was reading it correctly, because I think I was, and that it did restart when the charter came, but it just seems to make sense that if it is a concern of so many people, that we do get a second opinion that's not the person who is, the person writing the contract, who is the person of the, so it seems to me it would make sense to have a second set of eyes. I was curious about the cost, and I know we had a public comment earlier that was narrowing it. The person that I said between 1 and 10,000. So that was a little better of a narrowing. And I said, well, I guess it depends on how much people are concerned with it. I am not concerned with it. I trust the expert opinions, even if it is this. I'm fine with having the city attorney stay as he is now, and then we'll see what happens in the near future.
Okay. Councilmember Tinlin.
Yeah, I guess my opinion, and I read his opinion quite a few times, and again, I'm not an attorney, but also as we talk about outside legal second opinion. I mean, it's not judicially binding, so you'll get another attorney saying, this is what I think. And I'm going to guess if he says, I agree with Rennes, we'll want another one, right? So that's why you have to be careful. If you're going to go to another legal counsel, they're going to give you opinion, but it's non-binding, right? So I'm just looking at risk mitigation as well, right? Going to an attorney, it might make us feel good, but I don't think it'll help us going down the road further. So that's my opinion.
Councilmember Spishak.
I definitely can see both sides of it. I think that if, from my reading and conversations with outside people who are lawyers, I sort of align with Meredith, so I would agree to just move forward in that aspect.
Councilmember Slawinski.
I'm torn because every time we ask a question, we get more answers. And let's see, what do I want to say? The information that we received in the packet states that everything's fine, correct?
I'm not going to.
It's like, it's the opinion of our attorney. And so I like the idea of a risk assessment, but as Councilman Tinlin says, it's just going to be another opinion and it's not binding. So I recommend that we just go through to the RFP process, because it doesn't mean that our attorney can't be a part of that. He can. So that's my recommendation.
All right, thank you. So I did also speak to an attorney, and Councilmember Tinlin's correct. We're going to get, that's what attorneys do, right? They all have opinions, right? They're going to say, well, I read it here and it says this, and I read it there and this says that. I think that our biggest concern is litigation down the road. And I think that I echo Councilmember Slawinski's approach that we move forward with an RFP, take a look at some additional legal counsel. Part of our interview process can ask them how they feel about this, what's in place, and how they would move forward, and see what's out there and see what's available to us. So I kind of agree with especially that there was a change in the winds from what was discussed last time, that we do nothing and move forward with move forward to item 9J would be my personal preference. So our motion was to discuss it. We've discussed it. If there's no other motions on the topic, we would move to the next agenda item.
Question, I guess.
No.
So you're saying go right to the RFP process. What are you saying? How are you saying to act on that? Are you saying to,
I'm saying, we'll discuss
right
it
now.
at the RFP.
Oh, it's true. Well, we can move on.
Okay. So our next agenda item is consideration of establishing an ad hoc committee to develop a request for proposal, RFP criteria for legal services.
Madam Mayor, I move to establish an ad hoc committee to develop a request for proposal, RFP, for legal services be approved as presented.
Support.
Okay. So to answer your question, however we want to handle that is going to be up to us. Someone would make a motion that we have a motion to establish it. We need to talk about what that would look like, what our timeline, and what are the resources we would want to try and employ to assist us with that. So the composition of the committee would be 3 people, and by charter, the city manager is just folded in with our committee. We've talked before about when we have committees that it's very important that we follow Open Meetings Act so that we come up with a schedule. Someone's responsible for minutes. We follow the Open Meetings Act as far as having all of our committee meetings in public. Everyone can hear what we're saying. I would also like to, if we're going to discuss this throughout, possibly getting a resource to help us with the process, perhaps at Mr. Vitrino as a consultant to help because the city has never, to my knowledge, never ever done an RFP for legal services. I mean, Mr. Kingsep was in place for 5 million years, and Mr. Kingsep left, and
We have done an RFP.
have you? When was that?
I would have to look it up, but I know we have because I was involved in it.
Had to be before Kingsep, though, right?
No, ma'am, it was for our services. Our firm was selected by way of an RFP, ma'am.
I was on council at the time. I didn't participate in an RFP.
And yet an RFP was taken. There was a committee of 4 members, and our firm was selected by way of an RFP.
Who are the members?
I believe Mr. Pollock, Mr. Cervello, Mr. Kingsep, and I don't recall the last member, but President.
So that would have been when Kingsep was put in place.
No, ma'am. Mr. Kingsep was a part of the RFP for our services, for our firm that was selected.
So that's when
prosecutor
we were on
and-
council
I'm
at
sorry?
the time in 2021.
It was before that. 2015 was when
Oh,
our firm
okay.
was selected.
So, and that's when Kingsep was the city attorney.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, that's what I'm saying. Yeah, okay, so 11 years ago was the last time there was an RFP. Fair. All right. So those are my thoughts about what the RFP committee would look like. Mr. Riker.
I just want to include that in the summary and rationale that the city administration is recommending the establishment to commence June 1st of 2027, which is 6 months prior to, if you guys have the understanding that his current service agreement ends the 31st of December of 27.
I think that
That's a huge point here. That's a very huge point here.
From my perspective, again, I know we've all talked to different attorneys and secured different opinions. The attorney that I spoke with, there's attorneys that have given us guidance that we can throw everybody out and start all over, get an intern, whatever. We don't want to do scorched earth. We want to make sure that the city's taken care of. But I think that, at least my opinion, and everyone's going to have the opportunity to talk, that we want to resolve this issue sooner than later. So we want to move forward with establishing this committee and investigating what our options are for legal services are sooner than later, a shorter timeline, 2 months, and see where we are at that point. Mayor Pro Tem O'Rourke, thoughts?
Yeah, I'm good with the RFP process. And I am also supporting it not starting today because I don't, he's saying his contract's binding, and, if we breach that right now, we owe him money. And so I support it how it's the June 1st, 2020. I'd like for us to decide that date, but I would like to do this RFP recognizing the December 1st, 2027, whatever it was, expiration date.
So just to address if we breach it, we owe them money again, and there's attorneys that are going to tell you everything, but the particular attorney I spoke to spoke about how Michigan lawyers are not allowed to collect money for non-services received, and said, I'll file that lawsuit for Clausen all day long. So I'm just throwing that out there. So it's a matter of what we're willing to, throw down and do. Mr. Riker.
So I just want to put this in context. Are we going to start talking to other DPW directors, other city managers, when there's come agenda items that are specific to those departments?
I don't understand the question.
Well, you have an attorney, and you're going to other attorneys to check this attorney. So are you going to go to other city managers or other DPW directors or other police chiefs
We
to?
always network with other community officials. In fact, I'm going to a dinner tomorrow night to talk to other mayors, and we'll talk about how they handle their city manager issues and how they handle their DPW issues. And that's part of the job, is to talk to people in the community about how they handle similar issues, to get guidance and opinions and wisdom from other professionals in the industry. Every profession does that.
Stacking an attorney against your current seated city attorneys.
There's consternation in the community.
I said plenty on this, and I would caution the council to not take action on this item.
There's consternation in the community about his fee agreement being extended by virtue of the charter. We talked about it last time, and there was a, hey, we'll do it for a year and a half, we'll move it to the end of June. That's all changed. The consternation in the community is not gone. And I think that that's what we're looking to address, to give people confidence that what's being done is how it should be done. And the way to do that is to take a look at what other legal services are available to us. Just my opinion. I'm one person of 7, so we're going to continue the discussion. Councilmember Rinkovich.
Yeah, I think there's a common piece here. There's a gap, and that is this interim council gap here. We have been getting a bunch of different opinions, and municipalities do this all the time. So this isn't something that's new. It isn't something wild and crazy. We can do this as a council. We are capable of doing this, that we need to stop tabling it. We need to take control of the situation. If we're worried about whether the contract was extended or not, I don't believe we should be taking the person whose contract is in question's opinion on it. We do need to get an outside legal opinion for the council, not just everybody grabbing onto somebody's opinion out there. There's a gap in the middle there. And maybe, I think it's great that we're moving towards an RFP process. I think that is where the direction we need to go. And Mr. Nushai is welcome to, throw his name back in the hat for that RFP process. Again, I'm a process person, but there's a gap here. And I think council maybe just needs, as a body, one independent interim council to come in and give us that guidance, give us that confirmation about the contract, because we're hearing that the contract is extended to 2027. That's not my interpretation. That's not others' interpretations.
Councilmember Rinkovich, we're
Yes.
talking about the RFP. You're bringing
Yes.
up another
No,
different.
but this is what everybody is talking about on here,
This is
though.
a second topic about getting an outside opinion. So would you
But
make a motion?
I do have
You can
the
make a
floor right now.
motion.
Right. I know, but I'm talking about the gap here that everyone's like,
And I'm calling a
everyone's talking
point
about.
of order. We're talking about the RFP right now.
Correct,
If you
and
want
this
to,
leads into that.
if you want to after make a motion about getting an outside opinion, we can talk about that. But
Sure.
let's keep it to the agenda item and the topic of discussion, which is whether or not we're going to pursue an RFP or not.
Correct. This plays into that, though. This is about that. So this is the gap, though, that's missing, and why everyone's like ready for the RFP, but they're like, but I'm on the fence because I don't know, because I'm getting all of this different information. And I think that's where that, and it's part of a best practice too from MML. Like from a municipal governance norm, that's kind of the flow. So again, I'm for an RFP process. I just think there's a gap there. That's
Okay,
my
thank
2
you.
cents.
Councilmember Peltonen.
I am in support of what this says, an ad hoc committee starting June 1st, 2027. I really don't know why any of this was even brought up. Like, it's like we don't have enough going. I don't think there's anything that he has done wrong. I think maybe people didn't get the opinion they wanted, and now we're throwing all this out there. But from what I have read and from what I have confirmed is everything is fine. Like, what is in the packet is fine. And so June 1st, 2027, that's when we can start looking. And then maybe something will happen before then, and we'll need a new attorney anyway.
All right, thank you. Councilmember Tinlin.
Am I the last yet or no?
I don't know, I lost track. I think I went this way, and then I'm going back this way.
Well, I agree with Councilman Pelleton. You know, I've been thinking about this a lot, and yeah, this is just another rock we picked up and we're dragging along with us, right? I think this is my second time I've served on council. I've never had a problem with the city attorney. I know there's a lot of consternation out there, but I'm just looking at risks. So if we're going to have, an ad hoc, and I think that's a good idea, at the end of the contract, like it reads here, and then move forward. So he can put his hat in the ring again, or maybe not. And yeah, I agree, since there's other things in play, that we might be talking about this earlier than later. So I think that would be the easiest course, and that allows us to focus going forward on other things we need to do.
Councilmember Spishak.
Yeah, I'm in support of RFP. I think that we need to have the understanding. I would definitely more align with what's in the agenda, because I want to make sure that we're doing it under the protection of citizens of Clawson and making sure that we're not spending money that we don't need to spend, paying out a fee schedule if it is, in fact, what needs to be. But I'm in support of what it says in here.
Councilmember Slawinski.
I have a question that I've been asked several times. I'm just not sure what the answer is, so I'm just going to ask it. So from 2021 on, let's say you're a person who is a business person, and there is usually every year inflation goes up, and when you're in a job for a while, you want a raise. So, been asked this question, maybe you can answer this, but since 2021, it's been the same, from my understanding, it's been the same fee agreement, right?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, but you've had no raise?
No, ma'am. It's longer than that. The fee agreement matches Mr. Kingsup's agreement from God knows when.
So I question, just why is that?
That agreement is a staple agreement in the municipal world, ma'am, both with respect to, there's two components, as you may have noticed. One, which is a retainer, and the amount of work that we do on behalf of the city has not changed, does not change. It's a steady amount of work. And then it allows us for the additional work, like cases, new filings, to be able to bill on an hourly rate. And that doesn't change either. The hourly rate for the municipal world at the current rate that it is fairly competitive. And in that sense, it's always the same. That hasn't changed as well. If you want to increase it, I'm more than willing to negotiate.
Well,
that
no,
portion of
it was just a question that I've been asked. It's like, if you're in the business world and there are attorneys out there who charge more.
Yes.
And
not in the municipal world, though. I think you'll find that is a fairly standard fee.
Okay, thank you.
Of course.
So the discussion has morphed from the original motion. So, Mr. Tinlin, are you looking to modify your motion to include some sort of date of origination or completion?
Yeah, I was planning to modify still be the ad hoc committee, but add that commencement date. So if I can, I'd like to amend my motion. I move to establish an ad hoc committee to develop a request for proposal, RFP, for legal services, be approved and commence on June 1st, 2027, which will be 6 months prior to the expiration of the current service provider.
Second.
Let's have a roll call on that.
Mayor Moffett,
No.
Mayor Pro Tem Rourke,
Yes.
Councilmember Pelton,
Yes.
Councilmember Rinkovich,
No.
Councilor Slawinski,
No.
Councilor Spishak,
Yes.
Councilmember Tinlin.
Yes.
All right, the motion carries. We are not going to address the issue until a ad hoc committee that will commence on June 21st, 2027. All right, moving on. Unfinished business, we have none. Public comments for items not on the agenda. So I'm going to reiterate, this is for items not on the agenda. If anyone would like to speak to items not on the agenda, I invite them to the podium. They will be given 4 minutes to speak. We ask that they identify themselves as a resident of Clawson or a visitor. And so if anyone would like to speak to items not on the agenda, I invite you to the podium.
Jamie Gills, Tucanochee, Clawson resident. Just wanted to come up here and say, it was not a specific item on the agenda, but somebody in public comment said that prayer is important and prayer was not on the agenda. And I want to say, and they said that we should concentrate on issues more important to our city. To me, the question is not that agenda. The question is, do we want to be a city that is inclusive? Do we want to be a city that welcomes diversity and views that don't look exactly like our own? Do we want to be a city where anyone, depending, not, it doesn't matter what their race, ethnicity, language, sexual orientation, anything is. Do we want anybody to be able to walk into our city and say, this could be my home? And if that is what we want Clawson to feel like, that is what Clawson has to act like in every policy, in every thing that we talk about, in the way that we treat all the residents. So to say that council should spend time on things more important than that, I guess I don't understand why that doesn't reach the importance of anything else. If we want to remain the unique city people think we are, if we want to remain the city with the big heart, which is our slogan that we don't always live up to, you have to welcome people in every area of this city as if they belong, because they do.
Thank you. Is there anyone else who would like to speak to items not on the agenda? Come on down.
Hello. To the council members, my name is Don Ufford, and I'm running for the U.S. House of Representatives here in the Michigan 11th, and I'm a Democrat. Don't have a lot of political experience in this, but I do know how to build things, and I'm a husband, a dad, builder, and an engineer. And I come to this with experience at Ford Motor Company, where I worked for 30 years building things and, employing great jobs throughout the Southeast Michigan area. And then when I retired from Ford, I went out to work in the U.S. Department of Commerce on the CHIPS and Science Act, which brought jobs here to Michigan in semiconductors and semiconductor manufacturing and engineering. And then in 2023, I went over to the White House and worked on the EV transition. One of the last vehicles that I'd worked on at Ford was the Ford Lightning, F-150 Lightning. So I went over to work on the EV transition, and at the same time, also got calls occasionally from people to say, hey, we need to build more things. And I said, come on out to Michigan. We know how to do that out here. And so got the Navy to come on out, and they needed more submarine parts, introduced them to our great community colleges, and they decided, yep, Michigan is a great place to come. They brought $50 million to help with training, a lot of the residents that go to those community colleges. So I'm here to say I'm just glad to meet you. If you want to have an opportunity sometime, I'd love to talk with you, have a coffee with you or something like that, make myself available. I'm running to build things here in Michigan, protect our health care, lower costs, and protect our freedoms, all of which I've heard some, here this evening and or talked with people out in the hallway there. So I look forward to having an opportunity to work with you all, and I'm available, uffordformichigan.com, and or just grab me sometime, and just love to chat. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else who would like to speak to items not on the agenda? All right, seeing no one else getting out of their seat, we will move on to City Clerk's report.
Thank you. The only report tonight, I've had a question posed to me. It came from the city manager by way of city council, talking regarding the minutes and the posting of minutes and so forth. So just for everyone's understanding, the minutes are posted up on the documents on demand, and they're considered draft until they're approved here at this meeting, at this level. So what you see posted on the documents on demand are draft. If there's an amendment made here or a correction of some sort, then it would be posted as amended with that amendment in there. So I just wanted everyone to be aware of how that's done. The other item was talking about why and how come we don't put certain things in the minutes. Minutes are made for, typically, the way that Robert's rules is that minutes should record what was done, not what was said. Personal observations or arguments from board members should generally not be included, as minutes are not transcripts of the meetings. So you should focus on the action items only in minutes. And that's kind of the rule of thumb, and it has been my rule of thumb as far as the minutes are concerned. So just so that everyone's made aware of why I do what I do and how I do it. That's all I have.
Any questions?
Yeah, I do have a question. So the last minutes that we had, that we voted on tonight, there were 4 comments, public comments, and let's see, 2 of the public comments said just discussing, but 2 of them said spoke in favor of. So if we're supposed to be, my question to you is, if we're supposed to not be being specific, can we just say they spoke regarding of, or not just in favor of? Because it doesn't say they weren't in favor of. So you know what I mean? It makes it seem like.
I think what you're saying is that when it's something positive, it identifies the positivity, but when there's something negative, it doesn't equally recognize the negative.
Yeah, and I think
I can only say that all of us could do the same minutes of this meeting tonight, and we would come up with a different process or a different way that it's done. I tried to be very generic about what's put in the minutes. So when if someone got up to the mic and said, I'm speaking in favor of something, that's what I put in there. It's not that they get up and say, I'm opposed to something. They don't usually. They just speak about it. So they
usually do say they're opposed to it, though.
Not generally. They just speak about it. It may be in opposition because they're speaking about the topic. So I don't pull that out. I typically take what is said in a very generic form. I don't make it up. I just take what is verbalized.
I don't want you to feel like you're being attacked.
I'm not. I just want you to understand, and that's why I'm addressing it the way I am. So.
Yeah, it was my question, and it was generic. If we're going to be positive or negative, I think it should be more general, not either. And I think you do a good job of that, but I see that in the public comments on the last few minutes, and with the MML training that I took, that was something that was brought up. So that was the reason for the question. The other question I had was before the meetings, sometimes we will grab information, like I print my stuff out, not everybody prints it out, but,
We care about the trees. No, go ahead.
yeah, well, and some people will grab a PDF from the email. And I know that you and I have talked before, and the information that is not in the minutes that we change doesn't usually go out to council. And you said to me the last time we spoke that usually only the minutes, if they're changed, you'll send an email out to council letting everybody know that there was a change to the minutes. But if there's a change to something on the non-minutes, and one of us grab the email and we download it and we're working from that, then not everybody will know that there was a change.
I'm not aware of the packet changing. As a whole, I know the city manager emails the package out, the e-packet out once we complete it. The reason, if we catch a typo or a correction to the minutes before you approve them, that is done, and I usually let you know, hey, I've made this a correction, so you can vote on the minutes as submitted, right? So that's done. But the packet itself, I'm not aware, I can ask the city manager, I'm not aware of anything being changed in the packet.
Well, there
Can
was a
you-
document last meeting where there was an incorrect, it was a draft document, and there was an incorrect date, December 15th of 2025. And that was not in the minutes, but there were some of us that went and looked for the information regarding that meeting and that document because we didn't understand it was a draft document, but it was in the packet. But there was a change, and it was updated, and it was changed.
We're talking about the resolution, you're talking about the resolution that I included. I certified a resolution of passed. I think we're talking about the city attorney's contract. So I took a certified one, and it was a typo on my template. So it was corrected, but I did address it with the council members that did contact me. I let them know that that was corrected because it was brought to my attention. So I didn't send a new packet out, no, but the ones that did ask me, I corrected it with them
Yes, so
directly.
the idea is, it was just best practices. Is it possible that if we have any changes, that there just something go out to the council members?
I
And
see
I
no-
did
I'm looking at the
pose
city
that,
manager
yeah,
because he
I
sends
posed
it,
that
so-
to the city manager, and
I see no
he
reason
sent
why.
it to you, so I just wanted to have somebody make a decision, because I would like that to happen if possible.
I think the correction is simply, it was a mistake, a small inconsequential mistake, and this is not something that happens often. If it happens again, we'll send you an email and an update.
Great, thank you.
Perfect. Anything else?
That's all I have.
Okay. City Attorney's report.
Nothing this evening, ma'am. We've spoken enough about me, I think.
City Manager's report. Before you start, I want to thank you from the bottom of my heart for the new chairs, because I can see over the counter now, so thank you.
You want to tell her, I'll leave it to your comments to tell them if anyone hasn't noticed. Construction update, Elmwood, remediation of any crack or defects along the easement, remediation of any cracks or defects along with easement restoration will be completed in spring. Rochester Road, the tying in of the new pipes to the existing water distribution system has been completed. However, service tie-ins continue to be weather dependent, but should be complete by next council meeting. As a reminder, this will cause water service interruptions along Rochester Road area. Impacted areas will continue to be notified in advance until completion of this portion of the project. Reminder, this project is a new pipe and upgrade from a 6-inch to 8-inch in conjunction with the road diet resurfacing that will occur this spring. On February 4th, we had a great turnout at the Hunter Community Center for the community meeting regarding the master plan for City Park and the feasibility study for Hunter. Last Friday, staff and I met with school administration to ensure their awareness so that they can advocate for participation in the forthcoming public survey. I have received a few complaints regarding construction vehicles not using the Bywood to 14 Mile Road construction route. I will be working internally with staff to address these issues. Last council meeting, it was mentioned about events and the city calendar. We are making every effort to ensure that the city calendar is updated reflecting the latest upcoming events. Also made mention was the desire for text alerts for snow emergencies. This effort is still in work to get additional staff trained in using this resource. In regards to the goals and objectives, collaboration through Vitrano Consulting, originally we had suggested a potential date of February 24th for a lengthy session on goals and objectives. James explained that he had robust and productive one-on-one sessions with each of you, and we both feel that February 24th would be a bit rushed given all the feedback he's collected. For your planning purposes, we'd like to use March 10th at 6 p.m. as a follow-up collective meeting on these one-on-one conversations with members of council. So if you would please mark your calendars for Tuesday.
That's CapCon.
Aren't we all out of town?
Are you guys back on the 6th?
Well, CapCon is the 10th and 11th.
Shite.
The 2 days.
All right, back. Let me finish that. Yes, pardon me. So, all right. So, I had the conversation with James over the weekend. So, don't mark your calendars, and I'll get back to you on that. Let me read this. Oakland County Treasurer's Office Foreclosure Prevention. This is last year I read a letter from the Oakland County Treasurer, Robert Wittenberg, and we'll do it again this year. The Oakland County Treasurer's Office is in the final stretch of our foreclosure prevention efforts. The tax foreclosure deadline for the 2021 or prior taxes is on April 1st, 2024. That means if these taxes aren't paid by April 1st or any interested party hasn't entered into a repayment schedule with the Treasurer's Office, by then the property will be foreclosed. Since December of 2023, the Treasurer's Office has conducted over 1,000 taxpayer assistant meetings to assist taxpayers with keeping their properties by working with them to get a repayment schedule and/or by identifying resources that may be beneficial to them and their situation. We are here to help and strongly encourage taxpayers to contact us before the tax foreclosure deadline if they have delinquent taxes for 2021 or prior tax years. Taxpayers interested in scheduling a taxpayer assistance meeting may call us at 248-858-0611, or they may visit www.oakgov.com/treasurer. Some of the resources available to assist taxpayers include Financial Empowerment Center in the Treasurer's Office, which provides one-on-one financial coaching and services to help taxpayers achieve their financial goals. Contact Rita at nafsor@oakgov.com or 248-807-5287. Lakeshore Legal Aid, provides free legal services to people who are low income and seniors. They can be reached at 1-888-783-8190 is the number for new clients. Again, we are here to help and strongly encourage taxpayers to contact the Treasurer's Office if they have delinquent taxes for the 2021 or prior tax years. If taxpayers are interested in scheduling a taxpayer assistance meeting, they may call 248-858-0611, or they may visit oakgov.com/treasurer. Thank you, Robert Wittenberg, Oakland County Treasurer. Pending any questions, that's my report. And I will get back to you on a correct date for, it'll probably be the following Tuesday then, if it's not the 10th.
Following Tuesday's a council meeting
meetings.
and St. Patrick's Day. I mean, for
How
those
about, how are you guys open to weekends? We thought about that as a Saturday as a possibility. At all? Okay. So we got one out for Saturdays.
What about a Thursday? Like Thursday, the 5th or the 12th or the 19th. Those are all the Thursdays in March. Just listing Thursdays. But what about a Thursday?
I can support that. It's up to council members.
So, I mean, we theoretically could do the Thursday, March 5th, or even
Probably the 12th would be,
the 12th? Okay. Well, because you guys are back by then?
Yeah.
Okay.
That'd work.
Okay. Want to try that? And then I have,
I'll socialize that with James, and then if that works for him, it'll be on the agenda for your approval to have that as a public meeting.
so, going forward, when there's like a like a Black History Month or a whatever month, can we make sure the proclamations on the first meeting of the month so that people don't think we're ignoring it going forward?
Do that.
Thank you. Anything else? All right, hearing none. We're almost done, folks. City council comments. We're going to mix it up. We're going to start with Councilmember Slawinski.
Oh, all right, thank you. I just have two things. The calendar events that are going on to my phone are really appreciated because Nick and Brandon and all the departments, they're putting them on there, and it's really helping us. So I just wanted to say thank you. And also with the website updates, I know there's still, you guys are moving stuff around and everything's just looking really good. When I go for looking for information, it's there. So I appreciate that too. So that's all.
Mayor Pro Tem O'Rourke.
The only thing I want to comment on was there was great turnout at the Hunter Parks and Rec workshop kind of event. A lot of great ideas. I want to keep hearing from the public as to what direction you all want to go. But it's looking like the future's bright for Clawson, and keep up the participation in that process as we're going to need your help. So thank you.
Councilmember Rinkovich.
Okay, so I have a lot, but I'm going to try to summarize best I can. So kind of going back to our proclamations, I want to touch on a few things. So at our last council meeting, a local faith leader, Reverend Scott Manning, shared that he came across documentation showing historic redlining language in property records from our community. So that prompted an important conversation about how policies from the past can still have impacts today. So we had a conversation around redlining. Just real quick, anybody who doesn't know about that, it's a historic practice that began in the 1930s, where government agencies, banks, and lenders designated certain neighborhoods, often those where Black residents and minority populations resided, as high-risk areas for mortgage lending. I would like to bring forward at future meetings discussions about whether any legacy language may still be on our books related to any discriminatory housing practices, and what steps we can take to formally eliminate that. So again, want to take these proclamations a step further with action items. Going to the other proclamation with regards to ICE, I have also been participating in regional discussions and other community-based discussions, some that have included immigration attorneys, community organizers. Here in Michigan, just some stats, there's about 2,000 immigration-related detainees in the state. So one of the things, and I'm glad, we're working with open communications with Chief Baus, but there's also work that we can do in our neighborhoods and with our community. So I've been looking at community response plans, and the thing that's great here in Clawson is we're small, and these community response plans are really effective when communities are organized and connected at those neighborhood levels. So our strength is our size here in Clawson, as well as our relationships. So any residents who are interested in connecting on that are welcome to connect with me or any of the other council members, like Councilmember Peltonen, O'Rourke, et cetera, who may, Pro Tem O'Rourke, if they have questions. And on that note, I mentioned earlier, one of the things in those conversations was creative ideas, like going back to zoning and planning and looking at land use and putting moratoriums on, temporary moratoriums on land use, trying to be proactive to prevent using properties for detention centers, things like that. That also could lead into, I know there's a lot of conversations in municipalities around data centers too. So those types of things. Again, trying to be proactive and getting ahead of some of this stuff. Other things that have come up also from residents, flock camera systems. We've gotten emails. I've been asked about that, especially around data sharing, privacy protections, and assurances that were discussed when the system was first implemented. As part of our oversight role here on council, it would be nice to have the opportunity to review any policy framework and future contract considerations in advance. I've talked to some other council members or commissioners in other municipalities. I know that they have actually looked at their contracts, and I know the ACLU has some language that if they haven't outright, I know some municipalities have outright gotten rid of flock, but ACLU also has some language that can be utilized to add and strengthen or limit things like data access, retention, and external sharing. So as we come up on any contract renewal with that, I'm hoping, or I would ask any, advanced discussion come to council on that, Mr. Riker, if that's possible. So that would be great. And then Pro Tem, a lot of us were at that public survey that's supposed to be coming out from the city park and Hunter. I know you said in an email. Do we know when it's coming out for public yet,
So
Mr.
there was
Riker?
an option 4 that was not very
Yeah.
well displayed. That seems to be getting more popularity, and especially when we discussed it with the city administration, the school administration, and so they are going to develop the option A so it looks as professional as the other presentations, and there'll probably be it will probably be an option A, 4A and 4B, which simply has 2 different locations for what could be a community center.
Okay. Do you know when they might have it?
I'm hoping it'll be this week.
Okay. Just people are getting excited. They really were excited about all of this. So, and then do we know when on-street parking ordinance may come back up in front of us? That's another one.
That's actually something I don't know if James is going to bring that forward. That was one of the initiatives that I had suggested council tackle through the goals and objectives. So
Awesome. Okay.
It will at least get airplay there, and we'll have direction from that.
Okay. That's it.
That's it?
I know. Well, I had to move so many of my things. Okay, that was a lot. Thank you.
All right. Councilmember Spishak.
I'll make it short today. There's a senior lunch that's coming up on March 12th that is for St. Patrick's Day. It's a little further away, but it's a super fun event. So if anybody wants to sign up, I know they're close to selling out. So that's what I got.
Is there euchre coming up on March 13th?
There is a euchre coming up on March 13th as well.
Okay.
It'll be a good time.
All right. I love euchre. Councilmember Peltonen.
How are you keeping track of this? So I guess I just want to wish everybody a happy first day of fake spring tomorrow.
Oh, yeah.
Because I hear we might hit 60 degrees. So, no, fake spring tomorrow, 60 degrees. So, yes. And that's all I have. Hey,
All right.
nope, that's.
So that's just hoping all the snow goes away. All right. All right. And Councilmember Tinlin.
I'll keep mine short, too. Just because I'm working with the Clawson Youth Alliance, it's the Random Acts of Kindness week from February 14th to February 20th. And really the goal of that promotion is just those intentional, small, and often anonymous acts of kindness. It's really trying to make kindness the norm in our society. So I appreciate being exposed to the Clawson Youth Alliance. And just a really tough question for Joe is, when are the Christmas lights going to be turned off?
They're still on. Oh.
A couple of citizens have brought that up, so I promised them that I would mention it.
Thank you. Probably has to do with it being warm and being able to get out there and get them down just like in houses, right?
Excuse me. That's part of it, and also there's some consideration is like, hey, when we go up there, are we going to put something, as we're taking something down, what are we putting up next? So that's one of the things that we're deliberating about a little bit. So
All right, thank you, Joe.
Sir.
All right, bringing up the tail end, I want to again comment on these fabulous chairs. I was very excited to walk in and see chairs that I can see over, so thanks again for that. And if anyone noticed, because it's so skillfully done, it looks like it was always here. There's these little extensions here so that there's no kids' table, so that's all well done. It looks like it's been here since 1960 with the orange countertop. So, but, yes. Yeah, kind of. No mashed potatoes for you. Anyhow, thank you all for sticking with us throughout this whole long meeting. Appreciate everybody. Appreciate everyone's involvement. Appreciate all the discussions and camaraderie that we had going on here. So live long and prosper. And I will take a motion to adjourn.
Madam Mayor, I motion to adjourn the meeting.
Support.
Any discussion?
No.
Roll call, please.
Mayor Moffett?
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem O'Rourke? Yes. Councilmember Peltonen?
Yes.
Councilmember Rinkovich?
Yes.
Councilmember Slawinski?
Yes.
Councilmember Spishak?
Yes.
Councilmember Tenlin?
Yes.
We are adjourned. We'll see you next on March 3rd. March 3rd. Her daughter's birthday. Thank you.
Won't see me, I gotta work. No, wait, do I have that week off? Yeah, I think I do. I think that's my spring week off. I'd go to my daughter's house tomorrow morning. First she said, well, I'd come over after I work, get out of work. I said, I don't work tomorrow. It's gonna rain tomorrow.